Прийшли окупанти до нас в Україну, форма новенька, воєнні машини та трохи поплавився їх інвентар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Російські танкісти сховались з кущі, щоб лаптем посьорбати довбані щі, та трохи у чах перегрівся навар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Приперли зі сходу до нас барани для восстановлення
великої страни.
Найкращий пастух баранячих отар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Їх доводи всяке озброєння різне, потужні ракети, машини залізні, у нас на всі доводи є коментар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Вони захопити хотіли нас зразу, а ми зачаїли на орків образу з російських бандитів, робить примар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Російська поліція справи заводить, там вбивцю рашистів ніяк не знаходить, хто винен, що в нашому полі глухар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Веде пропаганду кремлівський урод, слова пропаганди ковтає народ, тепер нове слово знає цар.
Байрактар.
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 Yes.
The Leaf Street Army sends its regards.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Enforcer, and I'm accompanied by Enforcer Matt.
And good evening, folks. It's Enforcer Matt, and welcome back to day 315 of the news, and it's good to see you all once again.
And of course, we're going to be covering the past 48 hours of the war in Ukraine, and I've got to tell y'all, something wild's happened with the story from the school. It's gotten worse, and in fact, it's so bad that the Russians have come out and officially addressed it, and they're talking about how bad it really was. It's been a massive oversight by the Russians, a massive leap of incompetence for them that actually reached the public in Russia, and now they're talking about it. We'll be covering that immediately here in the news, but before we do, I want to, of course, talk about last night's fundraiser. Well, the Sunday fundraiser, because that was actually Sunday, not Monday night. We were able to raise, the last I checked, which was just a few hours before the stream, about $6,500 in support of World Central Kitchen. Impressive. Another, I believe, $200 or $300 came into the fundraiser after the stream had ended. So I've got to say, absolutely impressive. And I got to thank everyone who always helps out those fundraisers every single week. The Lee Spring Army has never failed at a fundraiser goal since the beginning of the war. And it's absolutely incredible to think that thanks to y'all, we've been able to do so much to help out so many Ukrainians inside of that nation, one way or another. But moving on from that, it's time for us to get into the juice. And it is juicy today. We're going to be going down to Makiivka real quick because we covered the school being blown up a little while ago. School number 19 is the one in question, and Matthew and me actually talked about on stream that the picture we showed, it didn't look exactly like the school that we were talking about, and I think I can find
It looked a little funky, but I think we have clarification now.
It looked a little funky, and apparently this is actually the school in question. The school picture that was given on that post was incorrect. It is a smaller school, as you can see right here, and so there were not 600 Russians inside of it to be blown up. However, there is somewhere, right now, the Ukrainians are saying that estimated it's probably around 200, and it's not really the Ukrainian government. They haven't made an official statement on how many Russians have been taken out in this building, but a lot of Ukrainian people and a lot of, I guess you could say, like pro-Ukrainian reporters like myself are saying that the number is close to 200. Meanwhile, the Russians have come out today and made an official statement that at this moment they found 93 dead Russians that they pulled out of the rubble. So we know that it's somewhere in between 93 soldiers and 200. I'm going to lay bets on it's most likely somewhere around 150 once we get the two and combine them. But one thing that's really interesting to me is that the Russians are coming out and they're making loads of official statements about this. An unbelievable margin, Matthew. And I'm about to show you one of the ones that is most interesting to me, and you may remember this man, Girkin. And just in case y'all don't remember who Girkin is the man who pretty much created the Wagner unit. That is his legacy. And so we're going, and also he was a DPR, LPR kind of guy, but he was kind of involved in the creation of Wagner because that whole thing happened in 2000. Anyways, he put out I guess you could say, a telegram about what happened, and this is the translated version of it. On Makiivka, briefly, I received information about the strike on the object around 1 a.m. on New Year's Day of 2023. The facility, which housed the Nth Division, consisting mainly of mobilized citizens of the Russian Federation, was almost completely destroyed as a result of the detonation of the ammunition stored in the same building. Almost all the military equipment that stood right next to the building without the slightest sign of disguise was also destroyed. And also, notice right there, that appears to be some passive-aggressive statement about the incompetence of the storing of the ammunition, and it appears that people, I guess you could consider a little bit higher up in the pro-Russian sphere, are aware of the massive levels of incompetence that are occurring on a day-to-day basis in this war, considering that he said this almost like it was normal, and they're now finally reaping what they sow in terms of the losses. So very interesting right there in that statement. You'll also see that he also made a video statement a little bit later on. I think I put that in tonight's news. That was also very interesting, and sadly we don't have a speech-to-text translation on the screen, but I can read you all the translation after I show you all the video. In terms of the number of victims, there are still no final figures, since many people are listed as missing or remaining under the rubble. In any case, the number of dead and wounded goes to many hundreds. Approximate number of 200s are available. 200s is the code for killed soldiers in the Russian military, but I will not voice them. I was warned that this can happen again at any time, since this is not the only such extremely dense deployment of personnel and equipment in the zone of destruction of HIMARS missiles. And yes, this is not the first such case. Last year, there were also quite a few of them, and we watched a lot of those on film. Although, as a rule, still with fewer victims. And that's also true. Usually back then, it was somewhere around, like, the 50s. You would see Russian soldiers getting wiped out with these ammo dumps in the 50s or so, but never in over 100. Over 100 alone is a massive amount of losses for a single ammo detonation. And not only that, we can see that according to Gherkin, it's not just 93. It may actually be higher than the Ukrainian estimates as well, because he says too many hundreds. So it may be up in the 300s and 400s, according to what Gherkin knows, but we don't really know what he knows, so it's anyone's guess at this point, but it is at least more than 100. And let's see, let me get on back down here. But our generals are untrainable in principle. Damn, what a roast! Oh my god, that's also completely known at this point. It's like, I like how he says that. He's like, but our generals do not listen to anything. It's like, yeah, we know.
This guy just got like 5 feet closer to an open window.
Yeah, right now there's a nurse inside of the building he's in, like it's a hospital or something, and she's just like quietly opening the windows near his hospital bed because he's probably like recovering from poisoning. And now he goes on to say, although they themselves, about the generals, after the summer, pogroms of caches. They've come up with a name for last year, Matthew, during the summer. The pogroms of caches. Remember back in, like, I guess you could say June, July, August, and September, when every single day we had nothing but videos of Russian ammo dumps blowing up? Apparently, in Russia, they named that phase of the war the pogroms of caches.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
what
my
is that,
God.
like something that they like covet now? It's like something to look back on and like pity.
Apparently, but I found the wordage here interesting because if any of y'all know anything, pogroms were kind of the, I guess you could say, the mini Holocaust before the real Holocaust. And this all happened, mostly these pogroms, occurred from the Russian Empire inside of Ukraine against ethnic Jews that had been living there for a couple of, well, I think about 100 years or more at that point. So very interesting the use of wordage here, and once again kind of calling back to Russia's really dark and sinister past of what they've been doing, not just to the Ukrainians, but also other people like the Jews, and trying to, I guess, make it seem nowadays like they're good people, and then they use a term that pretty much describes the atrocities that they used to commit. And then getting back to the generals, after the summer of the pogroms of caches, the generals prefer to stay away from the location of entrusted troops outside the radius of destruction of enemy missiles. So what he's admitted here is that there are no more higher brass commanders out there anymore, like the brigadier generals and the major generals we used to see killed at the beginning of the war. They're all gone. They're either inside of Russia or in occupied territory so far behind the lines that they know there's really no way for them to get killed anymore.
I wonder why they like to prefer to stay out of the radius of missiles. I wonder what the reason for that is.
I think it's because they're scared of slight showers with a chance of hail.
Yeah, or like shrapnel, maybe.
Maybe. But if we're going to be moving on from this little clip, because it gets better. We're going to move into Russia real quick, because I told y'all that official statements have been made, and we actually got an official statement. Let me make sure I can find the right one. All right, so I think it's this one. Nope, wait a minute, let me check this one real quick. Oh, here we go. This is the one I'm actually looking for first. We'll get back to this one in a second, but I have to show y'all this one because this is actually an official statement by the Russian Armed Forces on state TV about what happened, and y'all are not going to believe it, but the Russian army is still trying to spin some kind of crazy half-baked story about this whole thing, so I'm going to play the video and get a good laugh out of it because it's hilarious.
1 января в 0 часов 1 минуту по московскому времени артиллерией ВСУ был нанесен удар 6 реактивными снарядами системы залпового огня «Хаймарс» по пункту временной дислокации одной из российских воинских частей в районе населенного пункта Макеевка. 2 реактивных снаряда были перехвачены дежурными средствами ПВО. 4 реактивных снаряда с осколочно-фугасной боевой частью попали в здание, в котором располагались российские военнослужащие. От детонации боевых частей реактивных снарядов «Хаймерс» произошло обрушение перекрытий. К сожалению, в ходе разбора завалов железобетонных конструкций количество погибших
Matthew, I have to point this out real quick. I have to pause this. I just realized that in this translation, bureaucratic language is not just exclusive to the United States, because he called a school the rubble of reinforced concrete structures.
Hell, that's just a fancy way of trying to say we didn't hit a school.
That's the fancy way of them trying to say it was a school. Like, everything in the modern world is a reinforced concrete structure. I bet you.
Oh well, no, they're trying to get around saying that. They're trying to use this like workaround to avoid saying we hit a school.
Oh god. Oh man, I could think of a million instances in the United States where we use stupid wordage to describe something that's really simple, like this. But this just takes the cake right here. Reinforced concrete structures. You see, I live in a semi-permanent structure of residence, and I go to work in a reinforced concrete structure. I'm explaining pretty much that I live in a normal suburban house, and I go to work at Publix supermarket. Anyways, we're gonna get back to the video.
Увеличилось до 89. Среди погибших заместитель командира полка.
Oh, look! Wait a minute. They talked about the generals were gone. Apparently, that didn't include lieutenant colonels because this guy got evaporated.
Now the preference for being outside the radius has just started.
Yes. now the lieutenant colonels everywhere across the line are like, well, it's time for me to take holiday. Here's Sevastopol's nice this time of year. But sir, it's dead winter. Yeah, shut up, kid. And then he hops in the staff car and just drives. Maybe that is why. Maybe I just realized this. That's why a lot of Russian units end up in the middle of the DPR and LPR, and they say that their commanders are gone and they've been left in the middle of nowhere, is because these commanders chicken out and they just drive off and they never return.
Maybe so, but also real quick, Enforcer, I see a lot of folks sending me the coordinates to the actual location of the school, and I sent that to you in your Discord if you want to take a look.
Got you. We'll go back to that in a second. We'll go take a look at those coordinates to make sure that we're looking at the correct school, because still, while I was trying to confirm as much as I could, and I saw before stream that it was school number 19, the one we showed last, it appears that some of y'all are saying that it may be a different one, actually, so we'll go and check on that in a second.
Пусковая установка реактивной системы залпового огня, из которой ВСУ вели огонь по Макеевке, уничтожена.
And here we go with the clown talk. With the help of return fire, the MLRS from which Ukraine conducted strikes on Makivka was destroyed. Yet there has never been a confirmed HIMARS destroyed in this entire war. There's never been pictures of one. There's never been proof of it. Of course, they provide no proof that the HIMARS was destroyed. And this isn't the first time that they've said something like this. Back in the day, well, actually, all the way up until today, it's been a constant thing. They're always saying that they're destroying HIMARS. In fact, some people have said that the amount of HIMARS the Russians have claimed to have destroyed is about 3 times the number that have actually ever been in Ukraine at a single given time. In fact, hell, that even sounds like a misstatement by me. All the HIMARS that have ever been sent to Ukraine are still intact, and they've destroyed 3 times the number of HIMARS that have ever been sent to Ukraine. So, of course, it seems a little far-fetched that they're talking about these HIMARS are obliterating our forces, but we can destroy them with such ease when we need to, according to the storyline.
По Макеевке уничтожена. Также в результате ракетных и авиационных ударов по скоплению военной техники в районе железнодорожной станции Дружковка.
Also, by the way, while this guy is growing like a clown hair and a clown nose and everything, this little part will become very important later, because he's talking about a strike on a railway station in Drushkivka. We actually have the footage of that as well today. Oddly enough, the missile actually landed onto the ice hockey stadium in the middle of a French news reporter trying to make a story there, right behind him on camera. So we actually got to see the missile impact the building and then the damage inside of it. It was not a railway station. It was not a military building. It was an ice skating rink that was completely empty. So we're going to get back to this video.
Дружковка Донецкой Народной Республики. Уничтожены еще 4
Oh my god, man. Oh my god. Look at this. This man just listed off a shopping list. He said not only was the HIMARS destroyed that fired on Makivka, we destroyed another 4 HIMARS that same day, 4 RM-70 Vampires. We destroyed more than 800 rockets for them. So they destroyed 800 rockets that were used for ammunition for both of those. 8 cars and 200 Ukrainian soldiers and foreign mercenaries. All in the same day, just in response to Makivka, for some reason, the invisible mind of the Russian Empire that they're trying to build now just swept out of nowhere and just wiped out more Ukrainian forces after the attack on Makivka than they've been able to over the past month.
It must be nice to live in a fake world.
It must be. I mean, like the man's literally growing clown hair. This is just silly.
реактивных систем залпового огня «Хаймарс», 4 боевые машины РСЗО РМ-70 «Вампир», более 800 реактивных снарядов к ним, 8 автомобилей, а также более 200 украинских националистов и иностранных наемников. Кроме того, в районе Масловки, под Краматорском, поражен пункт временной дислокации одного из подразделений иностранного легиона, где уничтожено более 130 иностранных
Also,
наемников.
I like how they literally do an actual measuring contest here, Matthew. Oh, well, they killed 93 of our guys in this building, but we did the exact same thing in Kramatorsk just 2 hours later and killed 130 of theirs. Screw you. Like how lame. Literally, this is literally just a measuring contest, and it's not even true. No one's been able to confirm a strike in Kramatorsk at all today. Like, I haven't seen it. I've been looking for this. I haven't found it.
В настоящее время работает комиссия по расследованию обстоятельств происшествия. Но уже сейчас очевидно, что основной причиной произошедшего стало включение и массовое использование, вопреки запрету, личным составом мобильных телефонов в зоне досягаемости средств поражения противника.
Wait a minute! Wait a minute! They're blaming it on the TikTokers! They're blaming this whole thing on the TikToking Russians, Matthew!
Wait, they're
No
saying that
way,
they
look-
took pictures and posted it on the internet and they saw where they were?
Wait, they said a commission is currently working to investigate the circumstances of the incident, but it is already obvious that the main incident was the massive use of mobile phones by military personnel in defiance of prohibitions within reach of enemy weapons. He's saying that the TikTokers are what got them all killed.
I mean, honestly, that's probably part of it, but it's not the main reason.
Man, the Chechens must have been driving through the Kadirvites and they gave them all away.
Yeah.
Данный фактор позволил противнику запеленговать и определить координаты расположения военнослужащих для нанесения ракетного удара.
Well, I gotta say, it's fitting for them to put a clown hair on this guy. First off, because his first haircut, once again, the gnawed rat's back at it again, trying to get everyone's hairline in check in Russia. Someone needs to go over there and introduce to Russia proper barbershops that actually cut hair instead of butchering your hair. I mean, like, they do as much damage to every single hairline in Russia that they do to the rest of the world by trying to expand and take over territory. It's unbelievable. So I think the clown hair is a little bit better, and also the red nose will already hide that he's probably drunk on vodka and his nose is red because of that. So all in all, I think the improvements to his facial features are good. It's also good to see that they're admitting that this happened, but once again, you can see that they can never admit a bad situation on its face. Like sometimes the Ukrainians have, like when the Ukrainians say it's a bad situation and the Severodonetsk and Lysychansk area, and then they lose it, and then they say the Mariupol soldiers, they're holding the best they can, but it's only a matter of time before they give out. I mean, they give due credit, and they don't ever sit there and go, however, while they're not going to win in Mariupol, we are currently marching to Moscow right now, and we're 5 miles away from Putin. Like, they don't do that kind of stuff, but the Russians will, because they have a complex where they are supposedly the best in the world, and they can't let anyone know that that is a lie. So they got to come up with something to try and save face. But still, there's another official statement by the Russians.
Don't you just love, like, his whole demeanor is so downtrodden? He looks depressed. He's like the sad clown. He literally looks like the sad clown with that like hair on his head and everything.
You know, Matthew, in his original form before he transformed, why in the world does he look like the Russian version or the Slavic version of Johnny Quest?
Oh my goodness. Maybe.
I mean, like, he does, doesn't he? He's about to go and take Sim. What was his name? What was that guy's name?
Were you about to say Sim Salabim?
Yeah, Sim Salabim, but that's what the kid
It was
said.
Haji.
Yeah, Haji. He's about to take Haji on a quest into Afghanistan for the second time or something. But oh man, this is good to know that they're actually admitting to a massive shortcoming, although they're still lying massively around it. Now let's move on to the next one, because Also, wait a minute, that's about Bakhmut. We'll get back to that in a second. I need to find y'all the statement about the school. So, let me go to here, and let me make sure this is the right one. Oh, but that's still about Bakhmut. Let me make sure I've covered all of the... Oh, yeah! Okay, we'll get back to that one, too. So, I've actually just had to double check and make sure that I covered all of the official statements from the Russians today about what happened. So we did. So now we're going to be moving on into the second largest thing that happened today, which of course was Bakhmut again. And if y'all haven't known, in the past 48 hours, the Russians have once again not been able to make literally a foot of ground in Bakhmut. So many of y'all will know that this guy called Prigozhin, he's kind of a big figure with the Wagner unit. He's kind of on up there with Gorkin, who was like the DPR, LPR guy, and kind of helped to form Wagner in a way. But Prigozhin is like the godfather of Wagner. He is the guy who the Wagner soldiers like worship and praise. He's like daddy thug. So we're going to take a look at some videos of him today, because a lot of videos have been coming out about him and his statements, and he actually answered the question as to why the Wagner unit is not making any ground at all in Bakhmut, and you wouldn't believe it. It's the stupidest statement ever, and I know that's surprising coming from the Russians, but believe me, just believe me, bro, trust me, bro. So with that, here's the video, and he's going to answer the question for y'all, because I know a lot of y'all have been wanting this answer, so let's just get into it.
Всех, да, когда возьмете Артемовск. Артемовск — это крепость в каждом доме. И поэтому за каждый дом ребята бодаются. Иногда не один день, да, иногда неделями за один.
Weeks for a single house?
Oh,
Oh my god, this man's literally admitting it's an unwinnable battle. Do y'all know how many houses are in Bakhmut? Like, there's there's thousands of them at least. Let's count them. Let's see, so... now, Matthew, pull out a calculator for me. And, well, actually, I'll pull out my own, so that way, because I know you're probably busy as hell over there. So I'll grab a calculator. Alright, so let's say it's going to take 3 weeks for each house. So... And also, let's make an apartment block 6 weeks off of that statement, because it's way larger than a house, but we'll only multiply it by 2. So 1 apartment, 2 apartments, 3 apartments, 4 apartments, 5 apartments, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 times 6, 72 weeks. So according to his calculations, it'll take the Russians about 72 weeks to take this small area right here. So about a whole other year. And you look at this house down here, in about 3 weeks solid. And you got to remember, let's pull this up. How many weeks are in a year? A normal year, not a leap year, but a normal year. 52 weeks. 52 weeks. So each house is going to take nearly a month to take, according to Prigozhin. So imagine them ever taking this, and I don't know, like 50 years. Going off that number, it's literally going to take it more than 50 years off of the current rate to take Bakhmut at all. And that's
if they keep going at this rate, they're going to have to call up a full mobilization without a doubt.
If they're going at this rate, Matthew, we're going to be 80 years old, still on this YouTube channel covering the war, and we're going to have gone through like 3 brand new generations of viewers to get to the end of this, to the end of the Battle of Bakhmut. Not the end of the war, but just the end of the Battle of Bakhmut. You know,
it's really sad. Like, they're either going to have to resort to just literally, like, taking people off the street, or they're going to have to resort to something extreme to try to, like, quickly gain some ground. Like, they're just in a standstill.
But you're still forgetting that numbers don't mean anything. If you don't have rifles to give them or food to feed these soldiers, it doesn't matter if you have 5 million of them. They're not even going to do anything. They're going to get down there and they're going to get shot and killed because they can't even fire back and they're starving to death. They'll
let them starve. You know how the Russians are; they don't care.
But still, that's just ineffective. Like, you could get 5 million guys on Bakhmut, and then the Ukrainians just set up a Dishka machine gun and burn out 6 barrels on that thing, and they take about half of those guys out. So it's like, even if they do a full mobilization, there's no way to recover anything anymore. They just don't have the ability to do it. So we're gonna continue on and let him dig the grave for the Wagner unit.
Один дом взяли, второй дом взяли, третий дом взяли. Что такое прорвать оборону? Они вам скажут, что такое прорвать оборону. Оборону прорвать — это сегодня с утра один дом взял, прорвал оборону, а за этим домом еще новая оборона, правильно? И не одна оборона. И таких линий обороны, сколько в Артемовске рубежей обороны? Ну, если сказать 500, Наверное, не ошибемся, да? Каждые 10 метров рубеж обороны.
Нам не хватает техники, БМП-3 и снарядов.
Oh no! They're admitting it. The Wagner unit just admitted to everyone in the world that we're right. They're running out of armored vehicles. They say we're lacking vehicles, BMP-3s, and 100mm shells. They're lacking everything, like we've been saying, and now they're starting to admit it too. We're lacking everything on Earth to actually fight a war. Or an offensive
That's
one.
not shocking at all.
That's not shocking.
Does Putin have the same like authority over the Wagner people to like kill or discipline them?
Not really. I mean, well, kind of in a way because they're Russian citizens, but they're not like the Russian Federation's army, you know, like the actual ground army. It's like Blackwater. Like, you know, there's only so much accountability and control you can have over Blackwater until they do stupid stuff that you cannot control. You know, it's kind of like that.
So there's a 50-50 chance this guy might live to see another White Lotta.
Maybe. He may live to see a chocolate cake and some tickets to the water park.
Lucky man.
Lucky man. Some people die for less in Russia.
Чтобы нам быстрее, увереннее двигаться по Артемовску.
Боеприпасов, да, ни техники не хватает.
This man just sums it up at the end. We're lacking ammunition and armored vehicles. The two main things you need for an offensive, armored vehicles and ammunition. They're missing both of them. You know, that would just be like the Russians, you know, to walk into a building to rob a bank, but you don't have a ski mask, a gun, nor a plan. You just walk in there, this is a stick up with a water gun. This is a stick up. Put your hands up. What? Screw you, man. Aw. Dang it, we need guns to rob this place. But anyways, man, they're not making a good case for themselves at all anymore. And the Wagner group is now coming out and kind of spilling the beans that they're missing everything ever. And you know, that goes right up the Russian bots. And it's going to make them cry terribly. I'm telling y'all, there's probably Russian bots that will not be here tomorrow. They will also be going to sleep, but they are not on the front lines. Because this right here completely uproots everything they're saying. You know, because this is the Wagner unit. These are guys who are actually fighting in the Wagner unit saying that they're lacking everything. And so we're going to be moving on to the next bit. Because now, on the same day, Prigozhin traveled to a prison where he's recruiting new Wagner members. Like, it's just clear as day. And he's going to start giving a little bit of a monologue about how the Wagner should be respected across all of Russia. So here's a video.
Вернуться к нам будут на различных должностях, которые не требуют ноги. Сапером пойдет, если еще одна мина взорвется, значит железку оторвет, новую приварит. I
like how everyone laughs at that joke where he says, if your legs get blown off, we'll replace them and you'll go back to the front. Everyone's like, he's probably serious, isn't he?
Касается того, что мы сейчас видим, все то же самое должно было быть со студентами из Подмосковья.
Look at Prigozhin admitting that the Russian government is not recruiting or conscripting anyone from Moscow. He's like the same thing should have happened to those assholes in Moscow because they're not conscripting them and they're not having to come and suffer with all the poor people in Russia from everywhere else.
Oh, so wait a minute. They aren't taking people out of Moscow?
No, they're not. They're taking almost no one from Moscow. If you ever look at the conscription numbers, almost all of the conscripts are coming from the Far East, in the middle of nowhere, like the poorest places in Russia, and they take them from there. They're not taking them from either St. Petersburg nor Moscow, and a little bit less from Yekaterinburg, which is the third largest city, because those are considered posh, and they don't want to piss off the posh people in the metropolises, because then things could really start to go very wrong for governmental stability. So they're
and also the protesters would be right at Putin's front door then as well.
Yeah, that's the truth. And they would also be incredibly violent because they know it's either I die in Ukraine or I die here revolting against the government. And I'd rather revolt against the government than go face sudden death on the front lines. So he's admitting that right here too. Everything that I've ever been saying about the Russians in the background just all came true. And surprisingly enough, Prigozhin, who is probably the person you would least likely expect to confirm everything that's being said, is the one who did it. So I've got to give a weird bit of thanks to Prigozhin for finally admitting all of these things that we've known about Russia the entire time.
Или симпатичными, красивыми парнями, которые ходят на дискотеку в России.
Also, he's got a problem with discotheque, apparently. I don't know what that is, but apparently that's a huge problem.
Но в итоге ног лишились они. И ездят на Мерседесах. Ног лишились они, поэтому общество должно относиться к ним с глубочайшим уважением. А закон они нарушать не должны. Но если ты увидел человека, который приехал после войны, а перед этим сидел в лагере и записался добровольцем, причем часть из них сидели в лагере, у них по 2 дня срока оставалось, им просто родину хотелось защищать. Поэтому надо понимать о том, что они абсолютно полноценные члены общества, и помилованию их со снятием всех судимостей. Вот как с чистого листа.
Oh, I love how all these prisoners, you know, they're losing thousands of them nearly every few months. I love how just thousands of prisoners in the Russian criminal system are completely expunged. Like the courts are just going through at a Guinness World Record pace and going, oh, we got everything wrong on this guy. His conviction's overturned. Do you want to join the military, by the way? Yes, I would. Okay, to the front with you. Like, they're just acting like thousands of them a month are having that happen to them.
Oh goodness.
Man, it's just it's terrible. Also, by the way, I just noticed that someone in the live chat said that I did not look at the school and the coordinates that were given. We'll go back and look at that in a second after we wrap up the Moscow stuff. We'll go back and find that school in Makivka.
Так, а будто из роддома только что принесли.
Oh, and then someone said, except without the legs, right? And then everyone started laughing because they know it's true.
Согласен с тобой. Понимаю, что цинично звучит, но, как говорится, хули сделать.
Oh man, what a slap in the face to these guys. Because that guy was like, you know, without the legs, right? You know, joking about like the morbid reality of everything. And this guy is like, yeah, but you know what they say in Russia? Screw you, man. Like, just lose your legs and shut up about it. That's really what he's saying by what can be done. He's just like, shut up. It's almost like saying it is what it is. Oh, man. Anyways, we're going to be moving on to one of the last bits of news we've got in Moscow. Then we're going to go back and make sure that we've got the correct coordinates for the school. Well, wait a minute. We have 2 things, actually, from yesterday on day 312. We're going to save the best for last, because there's something that's really topping the icing on the cake inside of, I guess you could say, Moscow, to say the least. So, we're going to be going to this little clip where we got Gherkin, old buddy Gherkin. You know, he's back in front of what a lot of people call the Russian Confederate flag, which is the Novorossiya flag, and he's explaining why the Chechens, or the Kadyrovites, disappeared off TikTok. So, real quick, I'm actually going to make a duplicate of this off screen. So, 1 second. Let me copy that. Let me go paste it over here. Let me click enter. And 1 second, because I'm going to have to read the speech-to-text translation for y'all on this one, because it doesn't have one on screen, but there is one in the Reddit comments. But I also don't want to show the Reddit comments on screen, because, you know, there's some pretty interesting ones down there. So, here we go.
Which one?
And also, I'm going to have to turn this down a little bit. So, here we go. Why have all the gallant Chechen TikTok combat videos disappeared? Because before the Russians were achieving victories, and the Chechens could shoot clips on the background of these victories. Again, I'm not talking about everyone, but the lion's share of Chechen TikToks were recorded after the Russians took a town, and then the Chechens came on the background of the success and filmed it and said, we did it. But now there aren't any victories. Now we have to sit still while being shelled and hold under fire. What kind of TikTok reel would that make? When torn off arms and legs are flying each and every way? Nowadays, with the exception of a few places, the battles are fought with artillery, and to record a cool, clip is very difficult. Real close quarter battles are happening near Bakhmut. And that's what he said, word for word. So what he admitted is that we were right also, Matthew, the entire time about that. If we ever wanted confirmation from the Russians, this man just gave it. Every time we ever watched a video of the Kadyrovites, we were like, how come there's no gunfire in the distance or around them? How come there is no artillery fire around them? How come everything's so quiet? It's like they're the only people there. They were the only people there. They were going into previously liberated villages that were completely quiet, miles away from the front lines, and setting up photo shoots and films. The entire time.
Oh my goodness.
And now he's just admitted that. He's like, you know, they were full of crap the entire time. Probably never fought a day in their life because, you know, they're all back behind the scenes making videos. I mean, like, honestly, they would make it pretty good on YouTube with that kind of commitment to making videos, but at the same time, they're not fighting, and we were right the entire time. They just admitted to it. These guys were not doing anything, and they were not recording these films on active front lines. The Russians have actually confirmed more things tonight than ever before about what we've been saying. And, you know, people have been coming through, and Russian bots have been coming through and going, oh, this is all pro-Ukrainian, you know, they're saying this and that because they want the Russians to look bad. No, man, this is actually what was happening. We just were smart enough to know it before they confirmed it. Then it's common sense. Like, you don't even have to be a genius to know this stuff. It was plain as day when it was happening back then. So now,
Are the TikToks, are they sponsored by the Russian government, or do they want the soldiers to do that, or is it not?
Apparently they don't want them to do that. There's some kind of like a general order out there where they cannot use their phones near the front lines, yet they still are. But with that, Matthew, I've got to move on to the icing on the cake. You know, we didn't see a lot of videos, come to think of it, Matthew, from New Year's Eve of what the Russian people at the very top of the government were doing, like Sergei Shoigu. You know, we didn't see any of that.
True.
You know, I mean, it's kind of weird, don't you think? You would think that someone would have recorded a video of them. You know, they had to have been out at a public event, being in the position.
Let me guess. You found a video.
I found a video, Matthew, of a drunk Sergei Shoigu. A drunk Sergei Shoigu wearing nothing but denim. Like, if this man was like a rep for a company, it would be Levi's, because he was wearing more denim than the entire Levi's company has produced this year. There he is right there, denimed out. Like, I think he went and stripped 2 fifth columnists, as they call it in Russia, butt naked for this amount of denim, because I've never seen denim like this before. Someone wearing this much. Also, he sings, and it's terrible. I'm going to play the video for y'all because...
Oh, it's really him?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Like, everyone in the room is so on edge around him that he just had to look at him, and they all stopped everything that they were doing. Look, this is hilarious. Oh, that's when you know you're working for dictators right there. And oligarchs is when they look at you and they do something a little weird, you just stop everything. Everything on a dime. And also, if y'all can't tell, he is drunk.
He didn't want anybody to stop either. That's the only thing covering up his bad singing. It's like a Looney Tunes skit.
Yeah. Is the sound? Yeah, the sound's turned up all the way. I'm sorry about that. Also, another thing, Matthew, I was wanting to point out, who the hell, like, said, yes, perfect backgrounds for the stage would be railway lamps oscillating at different intensities. Like, look at this through the video. Like, that's their only decoration is railway lamps. Like, couldn't you have found something better for an oligarch's party? And also this little Charlie Brown tree. Everything about this is a joke, but the biggest joke in this room is the supposed Minister of Defense wearing nothing but denim, which just looks goofy. I mean, I'm sorry, if that is your fashion, like, I don't really like it much. Like, I feel like denim is just for jeans, or maybe a jacket, but if you're wearing a denim jacket, you cannot wear denim jeans of the exact same color at the same time. Like, that's just stupid. And also... It's a whole scene. Like, it's a whole scene in and of itself, and a really hilarious thing. Because also, just in case you didn't know this, Matthew, while this was being recorded, literally within the frames of this film, that HIMARS missile hit that school in Makivka and blew it sky high in the middle of this video.
Interesting. So while he's out here having fun, they're getting blown to hell on the battlefield.
While he's dancing and scaring the hell out of all of his party guests because they know he can probably have them disappear with one simple word, an entire base got blown away in Makivka at the exact same time, while the railway lamps were oscillating in the background, probably because the power grid was being overamped from that explosion hundreds of miles away. But anyways... We're now going to be moving back to Makivka real quick, because a lot of people have been saying that there are new coordinates for the school, and apparently I went and looked today, and it still was, according to many people, School 19. I may have been wrong. So let's go back and check. And we're going to check on that school while we're moving out of Moscow and back into Ukraine. So let me go and put in the coordinates here. Now let's go see what school it was. So, they say it was this school. And let's see where it is. So this time, instead of being on the far edge of Makiivka where School 19 was, which is down here, this school is over here in Makiivka proper. Now, I don't see, let's see if we click off of that. Now, if we drop something down, there is no street view whatsoever of this building. It does have a track, however, which would lead me to think that it is a school, because usually schools have some kind of a track or some kind of a rec yard or something out there somewhere. So, I would say that this seems to be more plausible for the school, and it also matches up more so with the rubble that we saw. There's also open venues in every direction of tree line that also make it look a lot more plausible instead of School 19, where if we zoom out, let me make sure I remember where that is. If we zoom out and we come over here to School 19, which is down here, everything didn't really match up, although it is clearly a school. So we do have a much more plausible option for this, and I think this is, in fact, the school. So let me go back and find it. Here we go. That's got to be it. Also, what is this? PTU number 19. Bus stop.
Can you put it into like 3D view, like sideways, or did they not have that?
No, there is no 3D view for this. It's only 2D, which kind of sucks. Kind of sad, but...
Man, but yeah, it looks like this would probably be a lot more plausible because the other picture of the after explosion, it had like really grown up grass and things like that. And it looks like this might be an area that has that instead of the, the original picture we saw.
And also, it does look a lot more like that picture we saw last night where you said that doesn't really look like that school. This does look like it with the same kind of like angular construction instead of the old classic look. It looks more modernist. It has several floors to it. It looks like this may actually be the school. We're still going, we have two contenders now. This one is much more likely than the last one. But one thing that's interesting is that while the other one was called School 19, in front of this building, there is bus stop number 19. So I think the numbers may have been mixed up and someone mistook the bus stop number for the school number. And so we got School 19 while the explosion occurred at a school near bus stop number 19. So,
interesting.
So there is some matchups there that make this a lot more plausible than the other one. So for now, we're going to switch the school. We're going to say it's not the other one on the far eastern side of Makiivka. It was this school. It kind of looks, honestly, like a community college in a way. Like this would be what we would call a community college in the United States. But it is a bus stop number 19 in central / slightly western Makiivka to the north of the city. Once again, much more plausible. So with that, we're now moving on from all of the nutty and absolutely insane news that we've been getting from both inside of Moscow with them making official statements about the school and also what's been going on the ground there. And we're now going to be moving towards our location unknowns, saving Bakhmut for a little bit later because while we recover, actually, you know what? No, we're going to switch the order tonight. We're going to cover the location unknowns last because they don't really have a lot of relevance in storyline to them. It's just video showing what had been happening today. We're going to start in Svatove next, and then we're going to make our way down into Bakhmut, Donetsk, and also Kherson, and then we'll make it to the location unknowns last, and also just a little bit of news in Belgorod, which is kind of attached. Anyways, let's move on into Svatove and check out this beautiful ammo dump explosion, because it looks like the Ukrainians are back on a roll again. They hit a lot of ammunition dumps, and one of these blew up, I would say, incredibly well in Svatove. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But before we get to that, Matthew's put up a poll, and it looks like loads of y'all, 1,700 of y'all, a massive number of y'all, have voted on this, and it appears that there's a little bit of a close call in between two of the options. So let's hear out the poll, and let's discuss it, and let's see if anyone in the live chat has good points to make about this poll. So what do we got, Matthew?
All right, so the poll that is currently running says, if Russia keeps stalling in Bakhmut, what do you think will be their next move? It looks like 38% said simply to keep fighting, 31% said they will fully mobilize, while 21% said they will resort to extremes, and 10% said unsure. Now on this one, I would be shocked if they just simply kept fighting, because they're going to run out of troops, they're going to run out of supplies, And that doesn't seem like it's really possible to me. I would say they're either going to fully mobilize or resort to some kind of extreme. That's, in my mind, the only two real options they have. Although that's giving a lot of credit to rational decision making, which they really don't have. So maybe, honestly, if I had to pick an option, I'm going to say unsure. But Enforcer, what say you?
I'm going to be honest with you, man. I think I'm going to have to go with an option that is not on this poll, and I think that they're going to eventually they're going to keep fighting for a short while, maybe 2 or 3 more weeks, and they're going to have to give up eventually because the Wagner unit, which according to the Russians and according to the Ukrainians are the ones that make up the bulk of the actual offensive forces in Bakhmut, are openly admitting now that they are lacking basic equipment to conduct offensives with. With that kind of with those kinds of statements being made and knowing that there will be no change to that situation going on into the future, someone in the Russian military is going to end this thing. And what doesn't make a lot of sense to me is why are they fighting directly into the city? This is like 2-year-old level logic, like strategically, not tactically, strategically. Because the most common thing for a military to do, if y'all don't know, like off of the history books, what a military does and what a army would want to do, you always try and fight for the areas that are the weakest and exploit those openings, then take the more fortified strategic positions that you're not directly fighting for. You're more so indirectly fighting for them. And so it would make a lot more sense for the Russians to push towards Seversk from the direction of Berestove, because there is a very small country road that goes to Vimivka, and then you can... I think there's a way that you can drive to Zimnivka if I remember the satellite view correctly. We won't check that though. But there is a way to do that. There is a way to fight around Bakhmut and exploit probably weaker areas of the front line with a larger breakthrough force and actually win here. But for months on end, the Russians have decided to go with suicidal front-on charges into a well-fortified city that geographically they will never be able to take without even taking on heavy losses once they get past the chicken tender and the outer suburbs of the eastern side. They'll never.
This is what I'm not understanding. Why are they trying to take only this route into Bakhmut and beyond? Why aren't they going around another way? Is there a reason for that?
I don't really know. I don't know how to explain it because logically it makes no sense at all. It would make a lot more sense to go somewhere like Yakovlivka and then start pushing out into the fields near Soledar towards its rear, which would threaten the Ukrainian rear. They would most likely withdraw from Soledar. You take Soledar, you have a decent base there, then you start pushing on towards Krasnoura, and then you complete the top left hook of the encirclement of Bakhmut to the north, which would jeopardize Ukrainian positions. It would cut off their supply line that's most likely there on the M03, and then they would only have the H20 left. And then you start pushing up onto the ridgeline near Kurtamivka, which they've almost done, but they're still getting bogged down heavily by weathering Ukrainian fire on the ridgeline there. Push up onto that ridgeline, start traveling upwards towards Bakhmut, threatening Bakhmut from that direction. They'll probably start diverting a decent amount of attention there, and then just push on towards Chasiv Yar, and you've kind of taken the town. But they're not doing that, and they've been doing this.
You know what it could be is that they simply don't have the facilities to move to another front. So they're stuck here because they don't have the supplies nor the manpower to move everything.
Maybe so. I think the honest truth is that Russian commanders, like Gorkin said, are so stupid. Simple things are completely beyond their understanding or their knowing. It's something to me that's absolutely insane, and that's why I'm saying, like, what would probably lead the Russians to success, because they've been doing the same thing for 5 months now, trying to push directly into the city, and every single day they're failing at it. They're not going to change their strategy. It's for one reason or another. I believe it may be because moving soldiers at this point from where they are is going to be so impossible for them due to a lack of vehicles and a lack of knowledge and a lack of, I guess you could say, training, that there is really no way for them to do or pull off anything without it completely collapsing in the process of trying to set up something new. That may be why we're seeing that the same offensive plans have been used for 5 months on end on Bakhmut, and they keep on going down the exact same roads, fighting for the exact same buildings to achieve nothing but gaining more casualties and more fatalities. That's got to be the only reason that this is going on in Bakhmut still. And based off of that, on my opinion, and actually going off of that, they'll probably keep fighting, but they can't keep fighting like this forever on one town. They're going to have to stop eventually. Or you know,
I'm not sure if they will. I'm not really sure if they will.
I mean, honestly,
it's either stupidity or they don't have the logistics to move everything. It's one or the other.
honestly, I'm going to be honest with you here. Knowing the Russians and considering that they've been going on for 5 months, they may never stop this battle for Bakhmut. It may keep going until the very end of the war, or until their flanks are threatened so badly near Bakhmut they have to withdraw from the city and not try and continue on the offensive. One or the other.
That would be the best case scenario for Ukraine if they simply try to keep throwing everything they can at Bakhmut. That would be the best case scenario for them.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Also, wait a minute. Also, Try and Take Alaska said fighting in Fallujah was a real pain. Trying to fight in a city is horrifying. You get shot at from everywhere. RPGs come from top floors. It was just nuts. And I will agree with you, Try and Take Alaska. Fallujah was a nightmare. But if we look at the Battle of Fallujah, and let me go find it, we'll see that the Marines won this battle. It was larger than the Marines. Of course, there was, I believe, a little bit of the Army involved, if I'm correct, but mostly, if not only, the Marines were involved. And let me make sure on that. It doesn't really tell us. It just tells us that the United Kingdom was involved a little bit, but largely the United States. The battle would be won in just 1 month and 2 weeks. And we have to remember that combined in between the first and second battle of Bakhmut, the Russians have been fighting for that exact same town for nearly 8 months now. And they have not been able to even get into the town to start with. Like, the urban fighting isn't even a part of their problem. If we look at the front lines around Bakhmut, like right here, you'll see that only this part is in the town. And this part is kind of in the factory. So not really urban per se, because if you look at it on Google Maps, it's actually very sparse. It's not dense at all. And let me go find that real quick here. You see, not really dense, not really urban fighting. It's more like fighting in a forest, but with a building interspersed in between. This is the only area that's somewhat urban. And on the chicken tender, they're fighting through a forest up there. And then all the way down here in Opitne, they took some semi-dense apartment blocks, and now they're getting stopped once again in an open area. You can see that open area right here. They're getting stopped in it again. And so it doesn't seem as though urban fighting is really their problem. The fact of the matter is that they can't even get past the Ukrainian defenses on the outskirts of the town to even get involved in urban fighting whatsoever. And they're getting hung up on what would probably be the easiest part of what this offensive would actually entail. So I would agree with you, though, Try and Take Alaska on that. The Battle of Fallujah was a nightmare, but still, the Marines and the U.S. military as a whole, being what it is, which is the best in the world, was able to get a horrific battle done in just under a month and 2 weeks, which you got to give a massive amount of credit to them for, considering the Russians can't even take a town smaller than Fallujah in 8 months. So with that, we're going to be moving on to the next poll, but that was an interesting one. Some interesting points were brought up.
Indeed. And the second poll said, do you think that the Russian general is lying about the counterattacks on Ukrainians? 81% said yes, he made it up completely. 10% said partially, he's exaggerating some, while 7% said unsure, and only 2% said no, he's probably telling the truth. Now, I'm going to say to the 2% that said no, he's can't be telling the full truth, because what are the odds that they almost took out the equivalent amount of people that Ukraine took out? That looks suspicious on its face. So I got to say that he made it up completely. There's just no way they did that. Russia didn't magically become powerful again all of a sudden. They never were, actually, but we thought they were. So I'm going to go with the 81%. But Enforcer, what say you?
I would have to say that he's lying completely. The fact that he said that 4 HIMARS were destroyed is the part that makes it completely fantasy, because no HIMARS has ever even really gotten within counter battery range to be destroyed. So the idea of them being somewhere and sitting still long enough to fall under counter battery fire and also be destroyed, along with ammunition for the HIMARS, is all fanciful. It's not even realistic. And also, considering that the Department of Defense has come out in the United States and said that not a single HIMARS has been destroyed yet, and that statement came out about 2 weeks ago, it would be insane to think that 4 of them got wiped out within hours, at one single instant. That just seems that is completely untrue, because the Department of Defense is keeping up with this stuff, and there's now advisors from the United States that are traveling around Ukraine and keeping tabs on our stuff that we sent over to them to see if it's staying within Ukraine. And apparently, and also, Matthew, this is something interesting, we've never heard back from these advisors about anything being shipped out of Ukraine. And so I believe that they've come back with the knowledge that nothing is leaving Ukraine, and so there's nothing really to make newsworthy or to report on. It's just status quo, situation normal.
And what were these advisors doing again? I was looking in the live chat.
Remember, there was a whole thing here about, there needs to be accountability about our monetary support and also our military support, see where it's going, what it's doing, making sure it's staying within Ukraine. So we sent a load of advisors over there, and they're still over there right now, traveling around Ukraine, checking up on all the support we've given, how much of it there is, where it's being used, if any of it's leaving the country or unaccounted for. And it's been, I think, 2 months now, and they've not come back with anything. They've not said anything about where any of the stuff is gone. So
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that is a great thing. The silence on that's a great thing. It means that nothing's leaving Ukraine and also something else interesting brought up, Matthew, is that someone put up a picture, and this is what caused the whole thing months ago, of javelins and in-laws showing up in Syria. And they said, oh, the Syrians, they're selling them, the Ukrainians, they're selling them to Assad. Like, literally Assad, of all people, who is a pro-Russian, government and country and everything. And then someone debunked that about 2 weeks later and said that those were apparently captured in some fighting with the Syrian Democratic Forces, which is the other faction, one of the factions inside of Syria right now, fighting against them, that's backed by the United States and gets some of our stuff. And so I was like, and also that was just lame because it's like, it's Syria, everything is in Syria right now. You can't find anything that's not there. But anyways, with that, do we have another poll? Because Matthew, I love the polls, and once we get on them, I want 5 of them.
So I know you love the polls, but sadly we only had 2 during the first segment. But there will probably be 3 more to come. I have a feeling that 3 is the lucky number for the remainder of the stream. And if you've been around for a while, you know why. But anyways, moving on to our Super Chat questions. Up first, we have a very generous $100 donation from none other than Mark Slava Ukraine. I think he is back in American currency again. I think I saw that properly. Mark says, oh, well, I'm first. Smiley.
Welcome back, Mark. And it looks like, I think actually when you sent that in, you ended up being second, funnily enough. Like one was sent in literally like a millisecond in front of yours. But to purposes of tonight, you are first. And so with that, thank you so much for the vast amount of support, Mark. And thank you so much for helping this channel to keep on running so that way we can keep covering the news like we are right now. It's people like you who keep this thing running, and we thank y'all so much for y'all's support to this channel. Also, just in case if there are new viewers wondering how this works, every Sunday we run a fundraiser through the YouTube Give platform, and that fundraiser goes directly to Ukraine, specifically to a nonprofit that's listed here in the United States. So YouTube takes care of all the funds and everything. You can pull it up if you want. Just type in YouTube Give and it'll explain it to you. And then every other day of the week, if you send in a super chat, you're supporting this channel and helping us to keep running. So if you enjoy the channel and you like it, and you want to help us keep running, that's how you do it. You throw in a super chat. And if you want to attach a question to it, we will answer it. We'll address anything you attach to it because we want to give you something in return for helping us to keep this channel going. But with that, thank you so much once again, Mark. I hope that addresses that fairly well. And we are on to the next one.
And without going through like the entire spreadsheet we have, do we know what the estimate is of total funds raised to date?
I believe it's around $727,000. So I think we've actually passed the $725,000 mark. So we're getting on up towards 750, and I can't wait to get to that because we are only $250,000 away from a whole $1 million raised. For Ukraine during the entirety of this war on this channel, which would be incredible. But with that, let's get on to the next one.
All right, and the next one goes to Azur Mamadov, who puts in a $20 donation and says, thanks for the hard work you guys put in every day.
And thank you so much for enjoying the hard work we put in every day to cover this news. And thank you so much for supporting us to help us to keep this thing going. One thing that I always think, and I always think this is funny, is whenever we get a compliment, because I'm normally someone who does not really take I just do my thing, and it's like, oh, I'm doing my thing. And then when people compliment me, I'm like, I'm like, well, that's it. That sounds really uppity to sit there and be like, oh, thank you. I do amazing. I do so good. But I do thank you so much for the compliment. It does mean a lot to me and also Matthew, because we put a lot of effort and work into this channel and also these streams to keep them running and keep the news interesting for people to watch. And so I got to thank you so much for enjoying that and supporting us to help this to keep going. We're going to put, what shall we put this one and Mark's towards, Matthew? What fund?
Let's see. And let's see, it's a coffee fund, nitric acid Coke fund. We
Pizza
have
fund.
the pizza fund. We also have something. What was the other one?
There's a million of them. Like, there's really any fund. Like the cat poop coffee fund. Like, we have like a million of them, I think.
I say the pizza fund is always a safe bet.
Oh yeah, let's put these towards the pizza fund. We're going to get like 5,000 calories of pizza and die. But anyways, thank you so much once again for the support, and we are on to the last one of the segment, and then we're going to return back to the news and start covering the Northeastern Front, specifically the ammo dump that blew up in Svitove.
All right, and the last one goes to Rain Roth, who puts in a $20 donation. And let's see if I can say this properly. Probably not, but happy Makivka Day. Hopefully a pizza is not more than $10, and this is enough for both of you.
Holy
and thank you,
moly.
Rain. I don't think it is more than $10 at Papa John's. I think it's, let's see, I think it might be 9 for the size we get. I'm not sure.
I think it might be. I think you might be right. But moving on from that, can you believe it, Matthew? We put Mark's, we put both of the ones before this one into the pizza fund, and then we literally got one for the pizza fund. Like, we're triple dipping, and we cannot triple dip the chip.
That was actually in before we actually mentioned that too.
Yeah, that's actually insane. But I got to thank you so much for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. And we will put that towards the pizza fund. I think Matthew is right in saying that the pizzas are less than that here in Alabama. But the prices do vary massively depending on what city you're in Alabama. Like Birmingham is the most expensive, and that's where we live. Back in the day, we used to live in a different place in Alabama where it was a lot cheaper for everything. But it was also not a great place. But with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well, and thank you so much for supporting our pizza fund. And so with that, we're now going to be moving on from the last question in the segment, and we're also going to be moving down into something that was mentioned a second ago by that Russian guy in that press briefing in Moscow. Before we get to Svitove and show you all that ammo dump being blown up, there was something that showed up on French television today that was absolutely bizarre. You see, after that strike in Makivka happened, a missile landed in Drushkivka and slammed right down into the dead center of a building. And it was very odd because it was all caught right behind this reporter, like right over his shoulder. So here's the clip. Also, just in case if this gets reviewed, because I'm sure that whoever's news channel this is are going to try and say, oh, we own the clip. This is Title 17. It is fair use because we're using it for news and commentary purposes. So there's no way that we can be had for copyright. And I will use this. I hope that when this gets flagged, because I know it will, the person who does this at YouTube will actually listen to me say this because it is Title 17. It's fair use. So here's the clip.
Oh.
Look at this guy.
Man, he cut to that guy.
Yeah, geez. I mean, like, this guy right here, he doesn't even look like he's phased. But this guy, he actually looks like how I looked when I first saw this. This was, actually, believe it or not, behind this guy, a hockey stadium. Like, I don't know how in the world there's a hockey stadium in Ukraine, but enough people play hockey in this part of Ukraine for there to be one. And it blew up right behind this guy when he was doing this interview in Drushkivka, right where the Russians claimed that they blew up 130 Ukrainians and wiped out their base. So let's watch this one more time. That's pretty insane. Pretty wild, if you ask me. I mean, like, it's just insane. But let me show y'all the next clip.
Sensational.
Oh, somewhat. But let me show you all the next
In a bad way.
Let me show you all this next clip here, because this actually shows you the damage inside the building, and you'll notice something really interesting. There's no Ukrainian soldiers in this building, and there's no supplies in this building either. It's a hockey stadium.
Мужики, пластик сливает.
Notice, the building is entirely empty, rather than the debris from the ceiling that got blown away by the missile. And the only other Ukrainians in this building appear to either be curious citizens that have now come to the building that was closed that night, and probably not in use at all for months on end, to take a look at the damage, or they're firefighters. One or the other. But there's no Ukrainians in this building, and it's obvious, considering that they said there was an ammo cache as well, just like they were using. There's no ammo in here, it's the building still standing. There was no explosion beyond the missile hitting it.
Переходи через парапет, давай на пластик сразу, сбивай пламя.
Oh yeah, they're firefighters when you see them pulling up the fire hose. We now see them throwing down some water. I think they're trying to throw down some water on the fire. We can't really see the stream of water.
Посольчик, помоги ему. Не-не-не, так не пойдет. Ближе подходи к очагу.
Also, interestingly enough, these firefighters are wearing the ballistic helmets. They're not wearing firefighters' helmets, which is very interesting. That's a little bit of a uniform change.
I see a ton of people saying that there were humanitarian supplies in the ice rink.
I mean, maybe that's it over there in the black plastic wrapping. Maybe that's it. But it looks like this entire stadium was completely empty. Like, you can see the floor when he pans back here. And it's completely empty beyond the rubble from the ceiling. Except for that thing over there. That's the only thing that's in that building. But right there, you can see Russian lies in action. This is the exact building that guy was talking about. He said, "We hit Trishkivka and killed 130 Ukrainians and blew up an ammo dump." There was no ammo in this building. Neither was there any soldiers in this building, because you can see that the building was completely empty. And I know that some Russian goof idiot is about to say something like, well, they pulled all the bodies out before they started fighting the fire. If there were 130 dead Ukrainian bodies in that building, imagine how long that would take them to pull them out while there was an ongoing fire. So that's just a dumb statement, because I know that someone's about to say it. So, you know.
And also some more information. It looks like folks are saying it was bottled water that was being held in the building. So you can see it strewn all over the floor in the daytime photos.
Interesting. I'll see if we can track down some daytime photos, and we'll show that on tomorrow's stream if we can. But right here, let's look at the floor one more time. I know it's dark. We probably won't see much. That doesn't... I mean, maybe so. Maybe it's those little, like, cans that look like beer cans. And those are the water bottles that got flung around. I'm not really sure, because they could be blending in with the debris on the floor, but that would be interesting to see. And also, if it was just water, well, that's okay. You know, the water can be replaced fairly easily. One thing that wouldn't be replaced easily at all would be 130 Ukrainian soldiers and tons of ammunition. And we can see right there, the Russians did not hit any of that. They hit an empty building. So, you know, just in case y'all are wondering, were the Russians really lying when they said that stuff? Yes, they were. There's the proof right there. So now we're going to be moving on up into Svatove, and I'm going to be showing y'all this little ammo dump that went up in a ball of fire and fury. It's a ball of fire and fury, the likes of which had never been seen. It's absolutely huge. Believe me, it's the biggest thing ever. It's bigger than Rosie O'Donnell. But anyways, let me get to the clip, and let me show it to y'all, because it's something. So here it is.
Did you make that sound effect?
What?
That.
Yeah, I did. Did it sound
sounded real for a minute? Yeah, I was like, did that come from the video? That sounded too real.
Oh no, it came from me. I'm just that good. But anyways, it appears that after that thing exploded, it then continued to burn on into the next day. There's a picture of it still burning at night today. So it seems as though the Ukrainians have started one of those slow burners, you know, one of those that'll sit around for a while and remind all the Russian soldiers in that area that they're losing, and now they don't even have any ammunition to fight the Ukrainians with until a good while later. Nice to see, honestly. And also, I like how some of the ammunition blew up, and it looks like some of those, like what I call like the Will-O-Wisp fireworks that have that like beautiful streaking stuff all around. Some of the ammunition blew up and gave everyone a nice fireworks show. So very nice, and it's also good to know the Russians are deprived of ammo in the Svatove area for a short while. We're now going to be moving on from Svatove and that impressive ammunition explosion, and we're now going to be moving down into Izium, because we saw today that a Ukrainian soldier and a large group of them took a break to play violin on a hillside. It was actually very picturesque, and I thought I'd show it just because it was neat. Also, I knew that it was music and it wasn't copyrighted because it was made just like today. So, here's the video.
Also, somebody put the name of the song that they're playing in the chat.
Really? Let's see, what's it called? I can't find it.
I know the name of the song. I'll know it when I see it, but I don't know the name right off the top of my head.
Sadly, I have no idea what the name of the song is at all. But one thing that I thought was really funny, Matthew, is that it looks like a solitary violinist playing on this little hillside over this river, and then they pan over, and you think, oh, this guy's just capturing a nice little moment. And there's like 10 Ukrainians here, and they're all filming. And they're all like, oh, this is very nice.
This guy is filming very aggressively right here. He's gritting his teeth and everything. Like, this is great.
He's like, I gotta do it for the fine, man. But also, you can see Izium in the distance right over there. That's Izium. So that's pretty cool. So they did it just right outside the town. Right outside. They're literally like on a mountain, it seems. But anyways, that's the end of that little clip. And I just thought it was really nice, and I'd show it to y'all because it's just nice to see. We're now going to be moving on out of this neat little clip from Izium and moving on down towards the area of Bakhmut. But before we get there, there's one more thing I have to show y'all from the northeastern front. The 10th Brigade was hitting the Russians today quite nicely. They've also come up with a cool intro. They also got some dubstep.
No.
Someone's about to tell me it's not dubstep. But we can see the artillery landing. And I got to tell you, the Russians are no longer dubbing their steps into the film anymore. Pun intended. We can now see the second shell hitting directly into the tree line, probably where the bulk of the Russian forces are. And we now see them also doing a little bit of a double tap here with a bomblet. We now see more artillery hitting the tree line. We can see, for some reason, some kind of a flashing animation thing. More artillery coming in. More 200s. Uh-oh. Ooh.
Boom.
No bueno. Another artillery. That one was almost like an airburst blowing up over the tree line instead of into it. I think it may be. I think we're actually watching airbursts being used on this tree line. We are. Those are airbursts. Man, they really gave these guys the whole 9 yards with the artillery. Airbursts, direct impact, and then bomblets. Like, they were like, these guys will cease to exist by the end of this day, one way or another. But still, you got to give them credit. They're making sure to knock out the Russians any way they can and the best way they can. And it looks like they're doing quite a good job right there in that clip. We're now going to be moving on down into Bakhmut proper. Because Bakhmut, of course, has been the subject of much controversy lately in Russia. And then the question's starting to arise, even amongst the propagandists, why haven't we taken the city? Or, as another person said, that y'all probably have seen the joke about, why? But we have an explanation as to why. It's because the Ukrainians are obliterating the Russians each and every day. Here's a video today of a Ukrainian AFV firing at the Russians with a large Ukrainian column behind them. We don't know exactly where this is in the Bakhmut area. There's no identifying landmarks here, but this is a neat video. Also, it's a Max Pro. We can see them firing the machine gun off the top, and you can see a Ukrainian column stacked up behind it. The Max Pro reversing towards the direction of the Russians with the column following behind them.
I love the Max Pro. Like, it's such a beefy looking military vehicle. It's nice and boxy. And look, everybody knows it's safe to stand like in front of it and watch moving backwards. Like, they know it's going to provide good cover.
Also, something that's really interesting about this, and this is next level thinking, Matthew, is did you notice that they pointed the rear of the vehicle towards incoming fire and they pointed the engine away?
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, that's really smart, because if anything hits that vehicle, we know that the backplate is strong enough to take an RPG hit, so the engine will not be disabled if they get hit. They'll be able to take a hit and then roll right off the field out of danger. So that is a really smart next level move by the Ukrainians to face the engine away from incoming fire, so that way it doesn't end up getting damaged. We don't see the Russians ever do that, and we rarely ever see the Ukrainians do this. So whatever unit is using this vehicle, apparently the driver and the commander of the truck is incredibly experienced with what can go wrong with these armored vehicles in combat, and they're trying to make sure to mitigate those problems as best they can, and they're doing a really good job at it, of course. So with that, we're going to be moving on from that little bit of news, and we're now going to be moving on down into Bakhmut itself, where we can see a guy had to Oh, had to, I guess you could say, override TikTok censorship. As y'all know, TikTok censors things that are related to war because they consider it not really suitable for their audiences. And so while there's always...
Wait, they censor war, but they'll allow all the other debauchery on the platform?
Yeah, and they'll also allow Kadyriovites to post their footage completely unopposed. But for some reason, this guy has had a problem that every single time he's uploaded something to TikTok, they take it down. So what he decided to do, and this is, by the way, a volunteer. I don't know if he's from Canada or the United States, but he speaks pretty North American English, if you know what I mean. Like, it's either Canadian or American. I couldn't really tell the dialect perfectly, but he decided that instead of making it about the war, he was going to make a quote-unquote skincare routine TikTok on the front line in Bakhmut. A very revolutionary way to deliver what's going on there. So I'm also going to take a risk on this one because y'all know the song here when it plays. I believe it's from Larry David's show. And can you give me the name of that show, Matthew?
Let's see, Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yes, it's from Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's the theme song for that, and it's playing over this thing. But I've got to let y'all hear this guy because it's hilarious. So we're going to take the risk. Anyways, here's the video.
Oh no! Now, that's the thing. I'm not an idiot. So could you ladies recommend some sort of, I'm thinking of an exfoliator, because my skin's not what it used to be. I'm quite concerned Ukraine has adverse effects. But I wonder, does the L'Oreal Age Expert actually inhibit one's own natural oils from protecting their skin? Someone told me that, a German once, that you actually age faster the more skin products you use. I don't know. But I mean, the girls here are so beautiful, but once they turn like babushka, oh. So, I'll tell you, the evolution of my...
This man is sitting here.
This is my kind of humor,
yeah,
like, honestly.
He's sitting here, freaking artillery rounds are blowing up on the other side of this house. He's sitting here. Does he really exfoliate your skin? Imagine being caught beside this guy on the battlefield. He's like, have you tried the new L'Oreal skin paste? Since you're getting riddled by machine gun fire? But anyways, I'm going to let it continue because this guy is comedic genius.
Skincare. I was on the Nivea for men, but then I went to L'Oreal Age Expert. But now I'm thinking in Donbass, if you just don't shower for a week, your natural oils are the best.
This man is genius. Also, by the way, a lot of y'all are saying that he is definitely not American, and for some reason at the start of this clip, when I watched it before, he sounded American, but as it went on, he sounded much more not American, not North American at all. And also, I gotta say this though. Some people are saying that he's Australian. Some people are saying that he's Southern Irish. He's Irish in general, Northern Irish, English, and also someone just threw in Canadian. So I don't know what he is. Everyone's across the board.
Sounds like a poll.
Yeah, everyone's across the board on where his accent's from. So it looks like I wasn't that far off because at least someone said Canada. But anyways, this man is getting out the news on skincare in the middle of the front line of Bakhmut. And you got to give him a lot of credit. He is going to get these TikToks out there one way or the other. And now, because he's talking about skincare, some guy from TikTok, if this video gets flagged, he's going to look at it with artillery shells blowing up in the background and go, yeah, it's fine. It's good. It now meets our terms and conditions. It can stay. Ridiculous. Honestly, the terms and conditions in that regard are completely ridiculous. Like, you can sit there and make a skincare video on a front line, and that's fine. But if you make a normal frontline video just showing the front line and not talking about skincare, then it's not fine. That just sounds stupid. True. Oh, God. Anyways, with that, we're going to be moving on from this little clip in the Bakhmut area and back towards the front lines, where we can see that a Russian soldier got hit in the Bakhmut area. Now, actually, real quick, before we go and show this clip, I actually had to have a second wind here and actually decide not to show this clip right when we're clicking on it, because I just remembered that we actually see a little bit of red, a little bit of that sanguinary fluid, I guess you could say organic coolant, and I don't know if YouTube likes that all too much. So I will say this, though, because this is a good moment for me to plug my description on my video. If you go to my video, and let me go to my video real quick because I know I'm on the dashboard. Look at that, I am. So let me get here. A little bit of that sanguinary. So let me mute that. That guy's really annoying sounding, you know what I mean? Anyways, come down here, click on the description, click show more. Come down here to the very bottom. You see this link down? Also, let me explain this to everyone. we always have a link in the description to United 24. You can go directly to United 24's website and donate to the Ukrainian government at any given time on the stream if you ever feel compelled to. You can also get to our merch store, which is the first link in the description right here. We sell neat merch, like Tears of Russian Bots, and also we still have the Christmas Badger hoodie on.
What? I took that down.
Yeah, I was about to say, Matthew, I was like pointing that out. I was like, that is supposed to be gone. That's supposed to be gone by now.
Get it while you can, because it's going down soon.
Yeah, get it while you can, because that was a glitch on our end, and that wasn't supposed to happen. You can also join my Discord server, the official Enforcer Lee Springer Army server, and then also down here at the very bottom, here is the map, the Day 315 map. This map right here, let me make sure to put this as 315. The map you're watching me click through on stream and talk about is right here. You can get this exact same map by clicking on that link. It literally pops up the entire map as is on stream. You can go through every single link, click on them, and watch them. So the one you want to go to if you want to see this video, because I can't show it on stream, will be this one right here. Right to the west of Bakhmut. It is the only dark gray marker in this area. So make sure to keep that in mind. If you do want to watch it, I won't be able to show it on stream, but you can go find it right there. So with that...
Also, real quick, the fellow that we just saw in that video actually is a YouTuber. His YouTube channel is Ukraine_TBIC, and he's originally Canadian, according to the audience.
So Ukraine_TBIC?
Hey, Operator Starsky's in the chat.
Hey,
what's up,
Operator Starsky, what's up, man? Like, what the hell? Well, usually we only reserve guests for Sundays, but I'm wondering, does Starsky want to hop on?
There's no telling.
Also, by the way, this guy's actually had a conversation with the Starsky bro. Like, he actually talked to Starsky on his channel. So, real quick, y'all know that whenever we show anyone who makes a video and is on YouTube of the war in Ukraine, we have to plug them if we show them on our channel, because I feel like it's only right. This guy's channel is Ukraine_TBIC, all lowercase. He, of course, made a genius video right there, and I gotta say, really funny one. Also, Starsky, let us know if you want. Let me check my phone real quick, because we'll throw you in a call real quick. Let me see. Well, we'll wait and see. But if you want to hop on, let us know. But this guy has a great channel. He made a great video.
He says sure.
Hell yeah! All right. So real quick, let me throw this over. We'll get you on in just a second. I'll finish up this little monologue, and then I'll throw you all of us into a call. But still, great channel. Make sure to subscribe to this guy and let him know that the Lee Springer Army sent you here. And also give him a load of support, because he's out there on the front lines doing things that most people can't do. And blow this video up, y'all. It's gotten 4.6 thousand views. I bet you this guy could get like 1 million views off of a video that funny. It's top quality. So with that, I'm now going to disconnect from the call. Real quick, Matthew, if that's fine with you. And then I'm going to throw you, me, and Starsky into a group call. So... 1 second, I'm going to stop streaming here, end this call, and then we'll pop up in a second. So everyone give me just a little bit. Y'all aren't going to hear Matthew for a second, but we will all be in a call. So let me see. Let me get up the Operator Starsky right here, and then let me hang on. I think that may be the wrong one. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to start a call with them all. They should pop in. And Matthew's in.
Oh, I think we're all in.
And it looks like Starsky is still joining right now. He's getting on his phone, though. I see it. He's online.
Oh.
Oh, hey! He's on. Let's go. What's up, Starsky?
Hey, what's up?
What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, man?
And
what's up?
What's up? We're all in. Like, believe it or not, Starsky's visiting us today. Isn't that great? Like, what the... Like, awesome. Dude, it's been a while, man. Like, what? Like... Good lord, like a month and a half?
I think the last time was like last year.
Dang,
that's a long time. Let's see, that would be, let's see, 3 years according to my account. But anyways, we are covering this news, man. And also, by the way, we were just talking about a little bit earlier, and I was wanting your comments on this. The school, you know, the one I'm talking about. What are your thoughts on that?
It was nice. Of course, we all know that Russians should stop recklessly smoking, because they do every time and they don't learn. But anyways,
I mean, like, I gotta be honest with you though, man. Like, that kind of smoking. I mean, like, I think the general surgeon's right. That kind of smoking does kill.
The difference is that smoking is bad for health because it can kill a human being. As for orcs, it literally like tears them to pieces. So yeah, that's the difference, and they should definitely stop doing that.
Starsky, I got to be honest with you. I think in Russia they're going to start a new anti-smoking campaign. Like you probably have the ads in Ukraine, where it's like a little ad that shows up on TV or the internet about not smoking. In Russia, they're going to be at a bus stop, and the guy's going to pull out a cigarette, light it up, and the guy beside him's going to look over and go, and then they're just going to blow up. Like the whole bus stop just blows up like a nuclear bomb. Oh, I bet you that's going to be their new campaign, man. 100%.
Yeah, definitely. But as for social campaigns, by the way, they developed a lot of new advertisements. I'm not sure if you saw them.
I don't think... Wait a minute, hang on. Are you talking about the one where the guy joined the army to save the Lada?
Yeah.
Yes, we did see him. Yeah, we did.
What do you think about those?
Oh my god, man. Like... We didn't really know what to think about him. A lot of people say on this channel nowadays that's pretty normal because, man, like the Russians are just so stupid. It's really hard to make sense of what they're doing or what they're thinking. But oh my god, man, I don't even know what to think about that. They're literally targeting like the poor people. They're like, hey, poor people, it sucks to be poor. Why don't you join the army and maybe like die or something, and maybe you won't be poor.
Yeah, absolutely. And to me, it's very typical that, for example, living in poverty, without heating and without all other people can have, in Ukraine is a big tragedy and pain. In Russia, it's like normal thing.
That actually is true, Matthew. Come to think of it, like he's right. Like they don't have any of that stuff in Russia for the most part anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Also, by the way, Starsky, I saw someone say this in the live chat. Let me go back and find it because I got to give y'all credit. Dang it, where in the world are y'all? Oh yeah, Misk77 wants you to give your comment on the hamster soup commercial.
Sorry?
You haven't seen it?
No.
Oh my god, I wish I could find it for you real quick. Someone needs to find the stream that was on real quick. Like, everyone. Lee Springer needs to get to action on this. We need to find the stream that had that clip in it of the hamster soup. We got to find it. I'll explain it to you real quick, Starsky, and hopefully someone will be able to find the day and the time that was on. But it was a commercial that the Russians had made for the Russians this Christmas, and it was about Christmas in Europe, and it was like 2021, and it was like a nice house, and they were living a good life, and having all these presents, and they got this little pet hamster for Christmas. And then 2022, there's no electricity, so it's like this year's Christmas. There's no electricity. They have to get the little hamster running on the wheel for the Christmas lights to even work. And then the next year, after that, man, it's 2023. The windows for some reason have been busted out because for some reason vandalism of windows becomes a big deal when you have no power. And so there's wind blowing in, and they're eating this watery looking soup with little meaty chunks in it. And so the dad, he gets the soup, like he eats it, and then he feels something crunchy, and he pulls this thing out of his mouth, and it was the little ribbon that was on top of the hamster's head when they got it for Christmas last year. And it was a whole deal. Like it was hilarious, man.
It was, yeah, that's the word. It was nasty.
Where they?
Yeah, it sounds interesting.
Someone needs to find this clip, Eddie. I haven't seen anyone bring it up yet, but we gotta show this clip to you if we can by the end of the night.
Yes.
But also, man, we've gotten some pretty interesting videos still left in Bakhmut to show you, because some of them that we got today were pretty interesting. Also, I think you've actually talked to the witch, haven't you, Starsky?
I probably did, but it was like maybe in the beginning or before of this invasion.
Well, she's actually overtaken. There was a guy that we were calling for a while in Bakhmut, the man from Bakhmut, or the man of Bakhmut, and he was kind of giving us like daily updates on what was going on there. It appears that he like phased himself out, and now the witch is giving the updates of what's going on in Bakhmut. So I'm real quick going to show this because of course.
Before you start, I know one girl with a call sign witch, but it's a different girl actually. She is from the special forces, the SSO of Ukraine, and she's a sniper. But that's a different person. We all have a lot of call signs. Sometimes they are the same. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of witches.
I wonder if the Russians, whenever they see a video of the witch, they're like, "See, that's a witch," like just because the call sign. They're like,
Probably so.
And then the Russians go and they do like the satanic chants around the fire and everything, to try and summon the demons of Russians past. But anyways, let me show this video because she actually gave a pretty good update.
Слава Україні! Мої вітання з міста Бахмут. Сьогодні я хотіла б з вами поділитися оперативною обстановкою в місті, новинами з фронту. Користуючись такою гарною погодою і тишею, зніму шолом. Ось. Ця ніч була досить важкою, як і попередня для наших підрозділів, оскільки початок місяця окупанти намагаються максимально штурмувати, поки в них є ще сили, поки в них ще поповнення не виснажене. Вони намагаються штурмувати наші позиції оборонні живою силою, знову ж таки. Намагаються виснажувати наші війська. Хлопці стоять, хлопці тримаються, і нашим окопним левам велика шана, тому що вони витримують навалу, витримують штурми втричі, подекуди четверо більшої кількості особового складу. Тримають, але тримають дуже дорогою ціною. Ми повинні це з вами розуміти, тому що Бахмут стоїть, Бахмут тримається, але це досить важко і досить виснажливо для наших військ. Менше з тим, вагнерівцям теж доводиться нелегко, це треба розуміти, тому що від полонених, з якими ми особисто спілкувалися і затримували, ми дізналися те, що вони йдуть настільки запеклі бої не тому, що вони мають якісь такі ідейні переконання, а тому, що їх примушують досить неадекватними методами. Ув'язнені вагнерівці, вони підпорядковуються кадирівцям, і ті, в свою чергу,
And so that's the end of the clip that we had. But one thing that is very interesting to me, Starsky, that someone pointed out in the live chat is that they said she might be single. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Starsky, you want to take a trip to Bachman?
Being divorced 2 times, I would avoid that. But there was another question in the chat. Somebody asked whether are they all so beautiful in Ukraine? And majority of them, yes. And that's the reason why you gotta be cautious, because they use it to their own advantage. Yeah.
Starsky, you're keeping it real, man. Keeping it real.
Starsky says, disregard the women, acquire the currency. Oh man, dude, that's classic, man. I love it. And so with that, we actually got another clip of the new equipment, Starsky. And I know you, like probably every one of us, love to watch those unboxing videos of just random stuff on YouTube. Like the unboxing video of the Fruit Loops. Unboxing boxes to find more boxes inside of boxes, like a Matryoshka doll or something. We actually saw that there was an unboxing review of new equipment that they had actually gotten in the Bachman area, and I wanted your opinion on these shoes, because I gotta tell you, man, these may be replacing Jordans soon, like here in America. They're pretty high end, actually. So let me get this video up for you and give me your thoughts on these boots.
All right.
Та підожди, дай. Телефончик, положи. Братва, тут розпаковка, чергова подача, вже стільки Збройні сили не видавали нам таланчики. Бачите, які шикарні. І перчаточки зимні. І рюкзаки ЗСУшні піксельні. Коротше, щоб ви розуміли, в Збройних силах є все, так що не хвилюйтеся.
I gotta be honest with you, Starsky. That's a high-end boot. Like, I don't know where y'all
really
getting those
is.
from, but that was a high-end one.
Yeah, so a couple words about those boots is recently in the National Guard, for example, until these days, we had 2 kinds of boots. I'm not sure about the Armed Forces of Ukraine, but in the National Guard, it was like that. We had summer boots, the lighter ones, and multi-season boots. Not sure how you call them. Now we will have winter boots, and those are specifically winter boots. They are very nice, and I saw them a couple of days ago. I visited our one of our training camps, and I had opportunity to talk to our soldiers and some people from the supplies of the National Guard. And actually, it's in one of my upcoming videos.
Oh, wait a minute, you're plugging a new video?
Hey, we got a preview.
We got a preview. Everyone better go over there and check out that video. Y'all better.
Those boots. Well, actually, I put my iPhone in it, and we stuck it into a puddle of mud. And they are very nice. They don't let the water, go through and stuff like that. Oh my God, my English is so bad today.
You're fine, man.
Yeah, it's just it's like 6 a.m. in Ukraine. They are very nice. Again, that's Talan boots. Those green ones in the National Guard will be used together with our newly adopted camouflage called Predator. And by the way, in the National Guard, we're gonna adopt a new camouflage yet. It's something that looks like Predator. That's something that we have now, but just a bit different.
Interesting, man. It sounds like you're getting a whole bunch of new equipment, and I got to be honest with you. If a Russian got a hold of one of these boots, he would probably be trying to eat it at this point. And speaking of eating, man, so Rob, hang on, real quick. Actually, I think I'm about to mispronounce your name and get everything wrong. I was about to say Rob Bain, but it's actually Bob Kane. I'm sorry, Bob. You've been here forever. But Bob Kane actually just sent me the video of the hamster soup on the Discord. So let me go and find that video real quick over here.
Oh my God.
And I'm going to pull it over for you, just for you. I honestly, Matthew, I feel like Oprah Winfrey. Guess what we got for you today? We got a brand new car.
A special treat, some horrific Russian propaganda.
All right, you're going to love this, man. This is going to be hilarious. Well, I'm not going to project on you because then you'll feel like you're forced to laugh, but check this out.
Silent night, holy night. All is calm, all is bright. Round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace.
Oh my goodness.
Also,
you know what? This time around, I really got a feel for the sickness of it. It really didn't hit me fully the first time, but man, that was twisted.
It's just so sick. But I want Starsky's input on this because we both talked about it before, but I don't think he's seen it before.
So I think that hamster must be made a symbol of Ukrainian family, keeper of Ukrainian family, because hamster brought them together. It gave this family electricity, and it sacrificed itself. So I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome, and and basically this advertisement is because they are stupid. It's rather counter advertisement for Russia Today and their whole campaign, because if I was making this advertisement, I would make it the way so it creates more sympathy in Russians towards Ukrainians. And basically, because currently what they want is they want to increase. So the point of this very advertisement is that to make Ukrainian people understand that they're suffering, that they want to finish this war as fast as they can. They remember the better times that were prior to this war, and they want to make Ukrainians want those things back. But what in reality happens, we can see a happy family that are happy together, and no matter what happens, they spend time together, they smile, and we all hate Russians for what they do to those poor Ukrainian people. That's basically the result of this advertisement.
And you know something else interesting about this, Starsky, is like it's all really counterintuitive. I honestly think that it's really trying to make the Russians, who are always suffering, because the conditions are terrible there, it's trying to make them feel like, hey, it's okay because everyone else is suffering far worse than you, so it's fine. You're on top of the heap right now. The other thing that's weird about it, and we actually tested this on stream, and I'll test it in front of you too because this is hilarious. They make it seem like the West is super oppressive like they are, and you can't access outsider news unless if you're using some workaround like a VPN. So what they're saying at the end of this video is that if you want to see Russia Today anywhere else in the world at all, you have to use a VPN to get on Russia Today's website. But then we typed in on stream last time Russia Today, and their website's right here, and you can get on it, which is how little oppressive the Western world is that they'll allow you to literally read whatever crap they're putting out. And you don't have to do like you do in Russia, like getting a VPN or anything. The sickness is right there for you to read. There's no one stopping you.
Oh yeah, and they have to use VPN to access multiple web resources. They blocked a lot of websites like russoldat.info that shows Russian casualties every day. I'm not even mentioning Facebook and Instagram that are blocked because they are freaking extremists in Russia.
I mean, like, I wouldn't doubt you on that. I don't really travel around a lot in social media, but I bet you it is out there for sure if I went and looked for it. But anyways, it's time for us to move on from the good boots. Speaking of Russians eating boots and then Europeans eating a hamster, and it's time for us to move on down towards the area. Well, of course, the marches in the Bakhmut area are just put around randomly. We don't really know where they're being filmed. We just know they were in the area. And we saw the Ukrainians, of course, firing at an observation post. And of course, it's always top notch. So real quick, let me mute this because, we don't want to get in copyright trouble, although we probably already did tonight. And we see them climbing through some rubble, carrying the launcher. I gotta tell you, I don't know how sometimes they carry that launcher. It looks like it would get heavy as hell sometimes after like a couple of hours. Also, that's a nice gun. Gee, you have like a decent scope on it and everything. You now see them setting up the Milan. So, Starsky, are Milans new to Ukraine, or has that been around before 2022?
No, I think it's new. I never saw it previously. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Milans. Oh, they're pretty decent, of course. Like the French and the British have been using them for ages, and I think the Germans use them as well. I mean, like everyone uses these things, and they've got to be good if everyone's using them. And hopefully we'll see. I didn't check the whole video; I only checked the first 30 seconds of it. Hopefully we'll see them hitting something by the end of the video, because we can see they've loaded the second missile. And they're now firing it. Also, man, that's really cool how, like, the pod that the missile's carried in pops right off the launcher when it fires.
Yeah, it's like a disposable razor cartridge or something.
Yeah. Sadly, we didn't get to see him hit anything, but still, the Belarusian Foreign Legion always has a really cool outro. They've just been getting better and better as the war goes on, and if we know anything, they're probably hitting something down there. It's just that we didn't get to see it on film. So with that, we're now going to be moving out of the Bakhmut front and a little bit further down the line and into a marker that we put down near the Orlivka area. It happened somewhere around here, but we're not sure, of course, exactly where. But we did see some Russian soldiers get targeted and singled out. I don't know why, they're just minding their own business, but it appears that the Ukrainians had a problem with them being in this specific spot, and it looks like they will now be taking some naps on the job. I'm seeing also
they're somewhat spread out this time. Can you believe it?
Also, they're carpet bagging, Matthew. Look, they got like these little white bags in there.
Oh goodness!
They're moving south for the winter. And I'm seeing about 5 chocolate cakes and 6 tickets to the water park here in this video. What about you, Starsky?
I agree on that.
And now we can see the artillery fulfilling the wishes of all the kids in Russia for a chocolate cake. And there's about 3 new chocolate cakes being baked right now. Man, you know, it's always a marvel to see that almost all the shots that the Ukrainian artillery is able to fire, almost all of them can hit an exact spot right down this path on the side of this tree line. And we can already see that a couple of Russians have been turned into chocolate cake, water park tickets, and also greeting cards.
Chocolate cakes with meat. Sounds, you know, sounds exotic.
It's worse than hamster meat, I'll tell you that. They're now running away, the ones that are left. And we can see that the unit has decreased drastically in size, going from about 15 guys to about 7.
Now they're bunching up now that the artillery started flying in.
Oh, yeah, that's right, man. They're actually getting a little bit closer now. They're freaking out, so they got to, like, group up. Also, by the way, Starsky, I don't know if you know about this, but I think the chat has already introduced you to Igor.
Igor?
Yeah, Igor! We got someone... Bob, you were the man the first time. Also, a couple of Russians, water park tickets, chocolate cake, so on. You know, the usual business. No more white lotus, that's out of the picture. But Bob, you were my plug the first time. If you could find me that clip of, whatchamacallit, Igor. We got to find the Igor clip. Like, we got to show that one to Starsky. We got to get him up to date on our jokes on this channel, because that one is, like, one of the best. But that's the end of the video. More, of course, more chocolate cake, more water park tickets. I wonder what else the Russians are going to come up with. I think the next thing they're going to get to, Starsky, is like a singular flower, like a rose from the supermarket, and that'll be it.
I wonder what kind of those white bags were. Probably like New Year presents, something like that. Could be.
So it's probably some oil and sunflower seeds, and they're walking around like it's a big deal. Oh man!
I think it's something that they have this service called, oh my god, politruki, zampolite in Russian. So basically all the internal communications and parties and clubs and everything organized for soldiers. You know, that kind of service. So they could literally give them, you know, the New Year presents. I'm not joking.
That's actually wild. I'll tell you that, man. That is wild to think that they just have like an organization handing out white shopping bags from Walmart with just random stuff inside of it. Like, that's weird. I bet you though it's not higher quality than chocolate cake. I bet you that. Like, I promise you. Also, by the way, speaking of chocolate cakes being made, it looks like y'all were working on making a couple of more down in the Pisky area, because y'all hit a Russian checkpoint. It looks like it's under, and I'll try and show it to you. I don't know if it was in this exact spot, but down here in Pisky, it looked like it was somewhere on this bridge, but it may be on another one. So here's the video. I'll just let you see it, and I guess we'll figure out where it is, because it's somewhere in this area.
Не, мы не зайдем сильно горячо. Это пиздец.
Кто там еще был, говори. Есть кто?
What the hell was that noise? What was that? Did y'all hear that?
Just a second, lags a bit for me.
Oh, you can. I think. Are you watching the stream on Discord?
No, I'm watching one on the YouTube.
Oh, you can watch it here. Like it'll be live time in the Discord call.
Oh, yeah. Let me join it. I completely forgot about it.
It's no big deal, man. It's no big deal. But you gotta hear this noise, man, Matthew, because I think you'll know what it is too. All right, so
Okay, just a second. Where is my Discord? Oh my god. Here it is.
That's like a verbal version of me every single night when I hop on the stream. I'm always saying that too. Like, where's my Discord? Where's my Google Sheets? I'm like trying to get up like 40 different things before the stream starts.
Yeah, and I always have like everything sorted out beforehand. Like I get on here like 30 minutes before the stream and set everything up because I got to, and also I got to tell everyone it's starting in 30 minutes. So let me know when you're on the stream, Starsky, and we'll play this clip with a specific part of the clip again because there was an interesting sound in there.
How the room is called? Call room?
Yes, I think you are in. Yeah, you're in the call, I believe. So it should be over on, at least if it's on desktop like mine is, it'll be over on the far left, and it'll show my screen, and then you can click on it, it'll play like all the audio and everything.
Can you call me back because I'm talking through my phone and not via my computer?
Got you, man. Got you. We will.
Yeah.
We will call you back.
Okay. In a second. Okay.
Got you, man. All right. So in the meantime, we're going to disconnect from the call. We're going to leave Starsky and Matthew in the room entirely to their own devices. They're now going to get into a blood bowl. And I think Starsky will be on his computer in a moment. So we're going to give it a second. Sorry, everyone. But still, this is super cool. We didn't actually expect Starsky to get on tonight. So that's actually pretty wild. I'll say, hey, that's super cool. So we're going to see if he is back in on the computer now. Back in on the computer now. He's not talking. This is a sign of progress. See, we are waiting. We are waiting. Fethdar has given some Enforcer Matt tips and tricks. Let's see here. Starsky will be back. He will be back. He will be back, Azimuth. He will be back in just a second. Hopefully.
That was weird. I got booted out and then I couldn't get back in for a second.
Huh.
Also, just a heads up to everyone, it's a possibility our power might go out. It just flickered and there's some really, really bad storms coming up outside. So hopefully it doesn't, but it's a possibility.
I'm not hoping on it. So I was gonna let it slide. Also, it's Starsky has gone silent, everyone. Starsky is being had by the FSB. He's currently in a fight. He is using the hamster to gnaw their hairline off. So we're gonna sit here a little bit. I think he's getting on right now. Let's see. Activista say you're supposed to call him? He's still in the call actually right now on our end. So I think he's just trying to transfer the call from his phone to his computer right now. Oh.
Man down.
Oh, we got a man down. We got a man down.
Also, Enforcer, could you screen share when you get a chance?
Yes. Also, by the way, both you and me leave the call, and then I'll start up the call again, so that way he'll get a ring.
Okay.
Got you. All right, so I'm disconnected from the call. He disconnected from the call. Now we start the call again. He'll get the invite. Everyone will get the invite. It'll be a good day. Everyone hops in, and he's in. So, are you on the computer now?
Hey guys.
Oh, we can hear him. Yeah, there we go. All right.
All right.
So now you should be able to see the little thing live. Like I'm sharing it in the Discord.
Yeah.
All right. So I want you to hear the sound that this guy made.
Yeah, sure.
That sound right there. What is that? What is that noise? What is that supposed to be?
Can you repeat that, please?
Yes. What is that supposed to be?
I think he's suffering, or maybe he's very happy.
That was very plain. He's like, I think he's suffering. And then we hear the sad violin, clarinet music in the background, so he's got a nice ringtone. What type of motorcycle is that, Matthew?
Back up a little bit. I might be able to make it out. It looks like it's a burned carcass right now. Man, I have no idea from that.
I mean, you know, it's. Listen, Matthew, I'm selling this thing for $5,000. I know what I got.
Yes, always garaged, never tracked, perfect condition.
Perfect condition, very low mileage. It's probably a Royal Enfield.
Jurassic Park ringtone in the background.
Just adding to the ambience.
He's like, my poor motorcycle, what happened to you? I think it broke.
It needs oil.
Да бросьте вы телефоны, мужики, ну его нахуй, блядь.
Like, I like how they're just taking a tour. Like, they walk to one end of the destruction and then back to the other side. They're like, wow, look, we got hit.
Actually, they're very, very desperate. They sound very desperate. They say that all of their things are gone and things like that.
Oh, man, you know what? The Russians are not going to get anything else. That was it. Like, they was either make that work or nothing. Man, rest in peace to the poor motorcycle down there that just got torched. Like, you can't even tell what kind of motorcycle that was. But with that, that's the end of that clip. And once again, the Ukrainians got a pretty solid hit off onto the base. And we'll have to remember this noise going forward. Let me find it again. I think it was right here. Oh, wait a minute. No, don't click forward. Right here. That one. Why in the, Matthew, have you ever seen Smiling Friends?
No.
That little sounds just like one of the characters, like right at a specific moment in that show. Like, that's why it's funny to me. It sounds exactly like Zach Hadel. Oh my god. Anyways, we're going to be moving on from Pisky because that's all the news we have to report from the Donetsk area. There's not really much going on in terms of video and picture evidence that we can report from there. So by and large, of course, the front line hasn't moved and the area is stable. We're now going to be moving on all the way past the southern front where we didn't get any videos today. And we're now going to be moving to a really interesting clip of river warfare. We don't see things like this often, but we did see some tonight where the Ukrainians got in a firefight with Russians on the shoreline on their ribs. Not like the ribs like rib cage, but the rib boats. So I'm sure y'all like this because these guys laid into the Russians on the shoreline like it was some kind of a range day. So here's the video. Imagine being a Russian going out for a moonlit walk on the shoreline of the Dnipro River, and then you just hear, light them up, boys! They just grease you down. Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness.
That'd be a terrible first date, I'll tell you that. But with that, that's the end of that little clip, and it's really interesting to see that the Ukrainians are using ribs or any kind of boats at all on the Dnipro River. I thought they largely didn't do that kind of. I thought both sides were doing that kind of stuff, but it appears that the Ukrainians are doing it a pretty good bit. Also, we saw the I guess you could say Zaporizhia power plant raids a little bit of a while ago, where special forces were actually taking pictures around that area on the shoreline. So pretty cool, actually. And we're now going to be moving on down into our last bit of news. Starsky might like this one because I think this is a real trophy, a real treat to catch intact. The Ukrainians were able to get an S-300 in the Kherson area intact for the most part. That was once Russian. You can still see the Z on it. And they're now transporting it off for better purposes than the Russians would use it for. Most likely air defense. So pretty nice, actually. I've never seen, I don't think, as far as I can remember, an S-300 being captured intact from the Russians in this war. So pretty cool all around. And so with that, it's now time for us to move on from that little clip of news. And let me make sure that we have nothing. Okay, so we have one thing left in Kyiv, where we can see that the Ukrainian air defenses were active. Right over Starsky, I believe, last night, if I'm correct. Oh, I think we may have lost Starsky.
No, I'm here.
I was like, was there any air defenses active over Kyiv last night?
Yeah, there were, and I think the air alert lasted for like 4 hours. It was intense. We had, oh my god, we had 40 drones, and majority of those were aimed at Kiev, at objects in Kiev, and we have intercepted every drone.
nice.
Same was the night before, around 45 drones, and we also intercepted all of them.
Wow, impressive. And also, interestingly enough, we actually got the video footage of the air defenses in Kyiv firing at the drones as they were coming in. So here's the clip. We see something explode. We can actually see, I believe those are just the shells exploding after they've reached their range. I'm not really sure.
Jeez.
It's really interesting to see air defense in action like this. It looks a lot like the old films from the Second World War, when you would see air defenses active over a city at night like London during the Blitz. And these things are doing a hell of a job, probably even better than the British air defenses during the Blitz, considering that they're shooting down almost everything. So fairly nice to see that the Ukrainian air defenses were in action and that they were shooting everything down that was coming their way. Probably due to a good part either to the marksmanship of the Ukrainian anti-aircraft gunners or the new tech that they're getting, like the Gepards, which, from what we've been told, are doing an incredibly good job at shooting down Shaheds due to the shells that they use and also the, I guess you could say, just the quality of the equipment. So with that, it's now time for us to wrap up tonight's news with a speech from President Zelensky. For some reason, I forgot to throw this down as a marker tonight, but we can always go to the president's website and go right there and listen to the speech. And so, without further ado, here is the speech.
Guys, I will be saying goodbye because I have to run. It's my working day starts. But I wish you a good time listening to our president. And we'll see you later.
Oh man, well,
it was good having you on, man.
Thank you so much for coming on, man, and we'll see you around sometime. It was fun. It was super fun tonight, man. Like,
Thank you so much, guys. I miss you very much, and this New Year was kind of intense. So I think that I'll try to hop in next time. Okay.
Got you, man, and we'll see you around, man. Take care and have a safe day, hopefully.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
See you, man.
All right, and so without further ado, now that Starsky's gone, I hope everyone gives Starsky a good goodbye because that was really cool for him to hop in just randomly out of the middle of nowhere. Here is the speech from President Volodymyr Zelensky on the 315th day of the war.
Бажаю здоров'я, шановні українці. Щойно говорив з прем'єр-міністром Канади. І це четверта міжнародна розмова за сьогодні. Прем'єр-міністр Нідерландів, прем'єр-міністр Британії, прем'єр-міністр Норвегії і ось Джастін Трюдо. Ми почали цей рік одразу з того, що найбільше необхідне Україні саме зараз, напередодні тих нових мобілізаційних процесів, які готуються державою-терористам. Саме зараз той момент, коли разом з партнерами ми маємо посилити нашу оборону. Ми не сумніваємось, що теперішні господарі Росії кинуть все, що у них залишилось, та усіх, кого зможуть зібрати, щоб спробувати перевернути ситуацію у війні та принаймні відкласти їхню поразку. Ми маємо зірвати цей російський сценарій. Готуємось до цього. Терористи повинні програти. Будь-яка спроба їхнього нового наступу повинна провалитися. Це буде фінальна поразка держави-терориста. Я дякую всім партнерам, які це розуміють. Росія мобілізує тих, кого хочуть кинути вмирати. Ми мобілізуємо цивілізований світ заради життя. Дякую Канаді за незмінну оборону, санкційну та фінансову підтримку. Обговорили сьогодні з прем'єр-міністром Трюдо, як ще можемо посилити тиск на Росію. Відчувається, що канадська допомога нашому захисту цього року збереже свою силу. Дякую Норвегії за дуже потужні рішення, які вже ухвалені та які ще готуються. Це стосується і збройної підтримки. Роль Норвегії може стати дійсно історичною у захисті Європи. Якщо реалізуємо все те, про що зараз говоримо, це стосується і підтримки нашої енергосистеми. Зокрема, я дякую Норвегії за готовність допомогти забезпечити Україну необхідним обсягом газу на цю зиму. Дякую Британії за цілком конкретні домовленості, яких досягнуто, передусім в оборонній сфері. Сьогодні В розмові з прем'єр-міністром Сунаком я відчув, що ми однаково сприймаємо важливість цього року, перспективи цього року, те, що саме зараз можна досягти вирішальної переваги, не давши Росії відігратись на тому чи іншому фронтовому напрямку. Дякую Нідерландам за однакове з нами розуміння справедливості того, чим і як має завершитись ця війна. Я сьогодні поінформував пана прем'єр-міністра Рюте про найближчі розрахунки ворога, про те, що готується Росією на зимові місяці і початок весни. Впевнений, Україна буде почутою в Європі. І щодня я буду продовжувати таку дипломатичну активність, як формально, так і неформально, як публічно, так і непублічно. Провів сьогодні зранку чергове засідання Ставки, тривале. Були доповіді головнокомандувача щодо оперативної ситуації на фронті, керівника розвідки, про те, чого варто очікувати від ворога найближчими тижнями і місяцями. Дуже детально визначаємо потреби України, нашої оборони, нашої енергетики. І працюємо над тим, щоб кожну з потреб задовільнити, зокрема з партнерами. І ще одне. Вчора російські терористи зруйнували льодову арену в Дружківці Донецької області ракетою. Ця льодова арена «Альтаїр» почала працювати ще до війни, коли до приходу Росії Донбас мав нормальне життя. Там тренувались діти. Працювала дитяча спортивна школа. Відбувались хокейні змагання. Там люди займались спортом. Святкували і просто раділи життю. Краматорськ, Слов'янськ, Костянтинівка, Бахмут, Покровськ, Донецьк, Торецьк та інші міста і села Донбасу всі знали, що це за арена, і багато хто там бував. Минулого року її використовували для збору і розподілу гуманітарної допомоги. Російська ракета проти Альтаїру в Дружківці – це чергове зізнання держави-терориста. Зізнання, з чим вона прийшла на Донбас і що ми звідти обов'язково виженемо. Смерть на Донбасі не запанує і маємо зробити все, щоб викинути її триколор з Донбасу та інших земель України. Я дякую всім, хто воює і працює заради нашої перемоги. Я дякую всім, хто допомагає захищати життя. Слава Україні!
And with that, that is the end of the speech from President Volodymyr Zelensky, and that wraps up our Day 315 and Day 314 news summary. We're about to be moving into the question segment and answering all the Super Chats, and also as many live chats as we can, and I just want to thank y'all so much once again for watching the news segment. If y'all did enjoy, please make sure to subscribe. We run this stream every single day of the week, except for Mondays, at every night, at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So you can always count on us to be here and reporting every single day of the news of the war. And so with that, we're now going to be moving on into the question segment. But what a wild night, Matthew. We had huge news to cover. Operator Starsky just randomly hopped on. And it's been a crazy night, hasn't it?
What a pleasant surprise, too.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean, like, the jokes were rolling tonight, man. Like, that was hilarious. Like, it was good. So with that, let's get on into the polls. So with that, Matthew, what do we got?
All right. So for our final segment, we're starting off with our polls. And to be honest, I don't remember how many I put up. I think it was 4, but I'm not sure. We'll find out in a minute.
4?
But the first one said, I think so.
Holy
and the first one
Lord.
said, did the hockey rink destroyed by orcs contain bottled water for humanitarian aid? 63% said yes, daytime photos proved it. 31% said unsure, and 6% said no, it was empty. So it appears the answer is most likely that yes, it did contain bottled water, but we'll have to look at the daytime video just to verify it 100%, but I don't doubt the LSA, and that's probably the case. But Enforcer, what say you?
Well, you know, it's interesting and all, and I believe that it must have contained bottled water because, you know, a lot of people are saying it did. And so with that, I hope that addresses the poll somewhat well. And with that, we're now moving into our location unknowns, where we're going to see a kamikaze drone land right into a tank. Sorry, everyone. I completely forgot about that. Like, Starsky, was super hype the entire time he was here, and I completely forgot we had to cover the location unknowns. So here's this video. You see the drone flying in, going straight for the tank, or the BMP. Oh, we actually saw that clip before. So we're now moving on into the next one, where we can also see that this Ukrainian soldier sent a message to the Russians.
Oh, look at that gun.
Меня зовут Капитан Хайверс, и я твой шанс вернуться домой живым. Дай мне координаты места, где сосредоточена бронированная техника. Находятся штабы, боеприпасы. И я не буду бить по располагам. Я уничтожу только танки, порту, снаряды и топливо. Тогда никто не пошлет тебя в атаку на убой. Там ты сохранишь свою жизнь и жизнь своих друзей.
You know what this guy's pitch was to make this video?
What was that?
He was like, hey, I'm gonna do something badass. Film me behind this time artist. And that's what the whole film pitch was. Like, that intro was cool. Like, that was
I gotta say though, I don't mean to rain on the parade because it was cool, but that's a green screen.
Hell no. No, it's not.
It's definitely a green screen without a doubt.
No, it's not. Look at the lighting. Look at that. That's not a green screen, man. How in the world could you make that a green screen? The lighting wouldn't.
I would lay money on it's a green screen.
Hell no, that's not a green screen. That's how in the world does smoke wrap around him too? Look at that. How does that wrap around? That's not a green screen. He's there.
I still say it's a green screen.
Nah, it's not. Throw up a poll on it then. Let's see what people think. I don't think it's a green screen at all. We're now moving on into the next clip of Location Unknown News here in day 315, where we saw a drone hit an observer. Also, I cannot play You Spin Me Right Round, Baby, Right Round, like a record, baby, right round, right round. I mean, you see some Russians going on a roll. Gee, not only is the Ukrainian drone bomber on a roll, the Russians are on a roll too. Look at them go. They're not stopping. Dang, they're rolling a lot. But that's the end of the video, and once again, they got had. So with that, we're moving on to the next clip of Location Unknown News, where you see an ATGM fired into the woods. Also, I gotta mute this because that is taking us to Hogwarts, and that is massive copyright. And you see the missile flying across the field, and into the woods where grandmother's house we go, and then it hit grandmother's house, and the Russians are now gone. Oh my god, Paula remembered, Matthew. Remember that defense class where it's like, if a drone bomblet falls, just roll. Remember?
Oh,
they're doing
the
teaching. Yeah, they're doing the training.
That's the first instruction the Russians have ever listened to, and it didn't work for them.
Start rolling, blitz. And then they just look like idiots. Like the bomb's blown up and they're just rolling around in the field. I like the lilies. But anyways, it's time for us to move on to our last little bit of Location Unknown News, where we can also see the Russian losses for today. And it looks like the Russians are losing quite an exorbitant figure. They've lost 750 soldiers, code 200. 7 armored personnel carriers lost, 10 supply trucks lost, 5 tanks, 6 artillery pieces, 3 drones, 1 MLRS, a helicopter, an anti-aircraft unit, and that's it. And I say that's it like it's something very small. This is a quite large amount of losses right here, and something that they probably won't be able to recover from. And so, it's nice to see. So with that, now that we've covered the Location Unknowns, we are done with the news today. And so now it's time for us to get back to the next poll. And actually, it's time for us to get to this poll that we just threw up.
Oh, so we're going to jump ahead to this one.
Yeah, we're going to
So this one says, is he standing in front of a green screen? 67% said no, 18% said yes, and 15% said unsure. I still have to stand by it. The lighting, to me, was what gave it away. It's real footage, but I think the guy is not actually standing in the location. He's standing in front of a green screen. They're really good at it, but I would still stand by it's a green screen. But Forster, would you like to change your mind or stick with your opinion?
No, I think I'll stick with my opinion. It appears that 67% agree with my opinion. So I think I'll stick with it. I'm pretty happy with it. So with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, so back to our second poll. What is the soldier's nationality of the fellow that we were watching in that funny video? He was talking about the what was he talking about again?
Yeah, the skincare.
Yeah, that's right, the skincare. We found out he's Canadian, but it looks like 40% of you got that correct. 36% said British, 19% said Irish, and 5% said Swedish. So it looks like 40% being the largest amount and got it right. Honestly, I would not have guessed he was Canadian. I would have thought he was either Irish or British. But Enforcer, what say you?
I would say it's funny that actually we found out he was Canadian because I said he had a very North American accent, and then the live chat went insane saying he's not, he's Australian, he's Irish, and then I was like, well, I don't know anymore, but he is Canadian. I actually somehow got that right. Somehow at the beginning of the video, I just knew that he was Canadian, and I was right the first time. I shouldn't have second guessed myself. I should have stayed true to my feelings. But anyways, with that, I hope we addressed that fairly well, and let's get on into the next one.
All right, and I think this is actually our last one, and it says, do you understand the meaning of the RT propaganda video? 67% said yes, it's sick, but it makes sense. 11% said unsure, and 21% said no, the meaning eludes me. Now, I have to admit on that one, I can see multiple meanings out of it, but to be perfectly honest, it really doesn't make much sense to me rather than being really weird and sort of, I guess, dark. But Enforcer, what say you?
I would say that the point is obviously clear. They're wanting to make it seem that everyone in the West is suffering, although that's a complete lie. You know, it's like, why don't we use actors? Why not show the real suffering going on in the West if it's really happening? You know, just send a camera over there. But they couldn't. Anyways, with that, I hope we addressed that poll fairly well. And now, right now, it's time for us to get on to the questions. And right when I said that, Matthew, I got a big headache. So what do we got? like
Indeed. It's the weather, it's the pressure.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. It's like right in the very back of my head. But anyways, what do we got?
Also, by the way, folks, the rain got so bad today from the storms going through the south. We thought that we were going to have a second flood through the windows this time, but luckily we didn't because water's been our enemy over the past 2 weeks. So luckily, no more indoor swimming pools, at least for now. But moving on to our Super Chat questions, up first, we have a $50 donation from Bill C. And thank you very much, Bill, for the very generous support. He says, you do a great job pulling together so many happenings in the Russian invasion of Ukraine, plus a few trips down the rabbit hole, but still, smiley. Have you thought of the Leaf Spring Army joining to support hosting Ukrainian refugees to come to the U.S.?
And I got to thank you so much, Bill C., before I answer that question, for the support and enjoying what we do. I try and make it as interesting as possible. Starsky actually helped out a good bit with that tonight, so I got to thank him once again for coming on. It was really fun tonight. Like usually the format before, like the one complaint that Matthew and me had is that the format wouldn't work because I'd be trying to cover the news like normal and it wouldn't allow room for Starsky to talk, and a lot of people complain about that. Tonight I tried to give a whole lot more leeway in free space, and it did so good. Like he was allowed to talk as much as he wanted to, throw out his own jokes. Like it was good. I really liked it a lot. And so it was great to have him on tonight. Like I was getting a load of laughs from his jokes. He's getting a load of laughs from our jokes. Like that was great. I loved it. But for some reason, Matthew, right there, I kind of repeated, it was great, I loved it, you know, I was sitting there talking to him, he had good jokes, I had good jokes, I loved it, man, it was the best, but moving on from that, let's see, the rabbit holes, we haven't done a lot of rabbit holes lately, we've been keeping it pretty...
What are you talking about?
What you talking? Okay, yeah, I'm kind of lying. We do a lot of rabbit holes, but I don't feel like it's as much as we used to. We kind of reeled those in a little bit. But still, they were fun to me. I love doing rabbit holes. And I would say that the Leaf Spring Army would do the whole thing about hosting Ukrainian refugees, but there's really no way for us to centralize the Leaf Spring Army enough to do something like that, because the Leaf Spring Army is kind of just a YouTube centric thing. We don't really have like an actual organization behind this. It's just a YouTube channel. So I think as from a logistical standpoint, it would be a little bit too difficult to coordinate something like that. But I would encourage LSA members to take on Ukrainian refugees, because of course that could help out a pretty decent bit. If they already haven't found a place to live, I'm sure they would love to live with you all here in America, because who doesn't want to come to America? And if you're in California, somewhere near Anaheim, who wouldn't want to finally go to Disneyland? And so with that, thank you so much for the support, Bill. Sorry, for some reason I'm having a lot of problems right now on top of the headache, but I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, and now the coffee.
We're on to the next one.
Yeah, we're on to the next one. And now the coffee's wearing off too, on top of everything. So with that, we were on to the next one.
And also, I saw Thomas Moran say, "Rest in peace, Ken Block." And yes, Thomas, I heard about him passing away. I've been watching Ken for a very long time. He's a hell of a rally driver, and that was really upsetting when I heard he passed away. I've been watching him for years, and at 55 years old, that was too young and to die in a snowmobile accident. But really sad stuff. Like it really got me down yesterday.
Dang, what a freak accident.
Yeah, it's always on snowmobiles. Those things are really dangerous.
You know,
it gets a lot of people.
That's kind of like when the King of Random died in that parachuting accident. You know that, and he was like the biggest science YouTuber on YouTube at that time, and then he died in a parachuting accident.
Yeah, it's crazy. And also, yeah, you're talking about Grant.
Yeah, Grant Thompson, the King of Random.
Yeah, I remember that. That was wild too. He had just sold the channel.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, he was really on the up and up. He was having a good time out there in the world, and then he just died in a parachuting accident. It's like, man, he was a cool dude too, doing a whole bunch of cool stuff. He walked so that way. What's that guy's name now, Matthew? The science guy. Dang it, I forgot.
The new guy.
Yeah. Kind of. It's the one that Colin and Samir went and interviewed a while ago.
Is it the guy that's always like blowing up stuff for the video?
No, it's the guy who does like the squirrel maze thing every once in a while.
Oh, Mark Rober?
Yeah, Mark Rober. Like Grant Thompson walked so Mark Rober could run.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that's exactly.
I mean,
how it
somewhat, but Mark is definitely his own. He's his own guy.
Oh, he is his own beast for sure. But Grant Thompson was the OG and created the entire genre on YouTube of the science-ish videos. And then Mark Rober and everyone else, while they were around almost at the start, Grant Thompson kind of created like the general gist of what a science video was like, so that way everyone else in the genre could run. Like he had a large contribution to it.
That's something.
He's just like, that's something, because I'm going.
I was reading something in the chat, by the way. I was seeing what somebody said about Mark Rober.
Let's see. I don't see the one you're talking about. But
it wasn't anything bad. It was just general.
But anyways, with that, we are of course on to the next one.
All right, and moving on to our next one, we have a $50 super chat, very generous from Dupper Bob, who says to start a Bethesda game fund. Starfield is coming this year.
Oh, and thank you so much for the support, Dupper Bob. Starfield? What's Starfield? I don't play a lot of Bethesda games, mostly because they flunked on Fallout 76 in its release. They fixed it a little bit.
I hated that so bad because I was looking forward to the new Fallout, but they really dropped the ball on 76.
I have seen this before, and I've heard this thing is hyped as hell. I just hope that it doesn't fall under the usual Todd Howard thing where it's like an open, explorable world, and then it's like completely empty and devoid of everything. I hope it's not like that. But it looks really good. There's a game much like this actually called Star Citizen. I don't play it a lot. I do have it though, and my friends play it a whole load. I don't have enough time to get invested in something like that. But this looks a lot like Star Citizen. So with that, I gotta thank you so much for the support, Dupper Bob, for the support. You've been a channel legend here since forever, and I gotta thank you so much for helping this channel to keep on running, and also bringing this game back into my attention. I'll be honest with y'all, there's a really small game that probably a lot of y'all could get and enjoy called Manor Lords that I've been looking forward to. It's not made by a publisher like Bethesda Game Studios. This is being made by a single guy, and you can build a village in the Middle Ages from scratch, from the ground up, with organic city building. So it's not like a grid like City Skylines or SimCity or anything like that, Matthew. It is truly organic. You can curve the roads any way you want. The houses and their plots will conform to the roads you make. Like, it's a super detailed game.
That's pretty cool sounding.
Yeah,
the only problem with those games is whenever I play them, I always get like obsessed with them because they're really like detailed.
Oh, they're so. I know the city builders are the most addictive games in the market, like by far. Like, there's this game right now that I'm playing that's kind of like my substitute while I wait for that game, called Anno 1800. I'm sure many of y'all have probably never heard about this game because it was released on Epic Games. It's now come back out on Steam, which it was originally supposed to be published on. And in this game, you can build a town in the 19th century from the ground up. And it's a game that I really enjoy. I like playing it with my friends. I'm actually trying to see right now if I can play this game a little bit with one of my friends after the stream. I don't know if he's on though, so I'll have to see. But still, really cool game. And I really enjoyed it a lot because, of course, it's governance and administration. How cool is that? Like, you know, you can't get any more cool than just managing citizens. That's just neat. So anyways, with that, I hope I addressed that comment, that support fairly well. And thank you so much once again, Dupper Bob, for the support and also bringing up that game. And so now we have a brand new fund, the Bethesda Game Fund. And so with that, we are on to the next one.
All right. And also, I'm still waiting on the release of GTA 6. We've been waiting for that for a very long time. When's Rockstar going to come out with it? Come on.
Matthew, honestly, you're going to be an old codger in a retirement home by the time that game ever comes out because they are milking GTA 5 to death.
Yeah, they're putting in all these overpowered like vehicles and online. they're just trying to get as much money as they can.
Also, Matthew, another thing that's hilarious about it is that it's like, hey, we are introducing a brand new motorcycle to game. It's just pretty much a reskin of the Harley Davidson that we already have in the game. It's now going to cost about a $50 shark card. Like why? Why is that so expensive?
I'm surprised they haven't been sued for like infringing on designs because they put that disclaimer at the beginning that says they're not trying to replicate any real world vehicles.
And then
but everybody
everything's
knows what the vehicles are.
Yeah. Except for that plane, it doesn't look like any plane, like the Hydra or the other one. They don't look much like anything else. But with that,
and GTA 6 better have Zelensky in it. Like he's got to be in this.
Dude,
he's got to be the good guy.
It doesn't need to be Zelensky. It needs to be his alter ego Swolensky. You know, like just walking around, like give me the gun, and then they don't give him the gun. Oh, very well then, and then he just like throws him across the table. Honestly, that'd be funny. Anyways, with that, we are on to the next one.
All right. And our next one goes to, let's see here, Terrence Custer, who puts in a $20 donation. And here's for the Nitrous Oxide Fund. Is that laughing gas?
I think that's what the British have a problem with. You know, when the cops are walking around, they go, "Oh my God, look, it's a nitrous."
Yeah, they put that stuff in like balloons and they sell it. I saw a documentary on, I think, Discovery about that.
You know, I think that's honestly like one of the sadder addictions that I heard of. But I think the worst one I've ever heard of is a computer duster addiction. Like that one's just weird. You know, it's like how in the world do you get
That's
addicted?
too much. I can't even take that one seriously.
Yeah, how in the world do you get addicted to computer duster? I remember watching that documentary where they're like, "You need to stop," and then the guy like sucked some in right when they got to say that and said, "No." And I was like, come on. I was like, how are you supposed to take this seriously? Like, this is just, I don't even know how you get addicted to it. Like, what is it? Just pure oxygen?
No, it's not oxygen. It's actually compressed gases of different types, but it actually causes severe brain damage if you huff it.
Huh.
So it kills brain cells. So that's why the individuals, it's so deadly to get hooked to it because you'll literally end up dying.
Oh, that's interesting. So anyways, now that we have that dark bombshell, we're on to the next one. But thank you so much once again for the support to the Nitrous Oxide Fund.
All right. And up next, we have a $20 super chat from Nick Riva, who says, a parting token of my support in Slava, Ukraine.
And thank you so much for a parting token?
Yes, he left for the night.
Oh, I was like, he's leaving the Legion Training Army? I was like, you can't do that. The membership's for life. But thank you so much once again for the support. Of course, you have been around forever, ever, and ever. And so I got to thank you so much once again for the support, helping this channel keep on running. And I hope you have a great night, get a good night's rest, and come back tomorrow fresh and recharged. And so with that, we are on to the next one. But thank you so much once again, and long live the Lee Spring Army.
Yes, indeed. And up next, we have a $20 super chat from Panama Floyd, who says, thanks to Starsky, and also thanks to y'all for posting up that speech damn near every night, and take a question from the chat.
And thank you so much for the support. Also, that was wild to me is that Starsky came on tonight, which was actually completely unplanned. We had no idea that he would hop in our live chat and then we would throw him on stream like that. We didn't know that at all. Also, usually, in case y'all didn't know this, we usually try and bring on guest stars on Sundays, so that way they and their popularity can contribute to help out with the fundraiser. That's usually why we bring on guest stars only on Sundays if we ever do. But that was kind of weird because he came on a Tuesday, which is our first day of the week coming back and covering the news. But with that, thank you so much for enjoying that. It was really fun for me too. He was really cool. Maybe he's still watching the stream while he's working. I don't know. But with that, we are on to a live chat question. I think, didn't they ask for one?
They did. So the live chat question is going to go to Ray T, who says, what do you know about the Russians losing 500 soldiers in Chulanivka?
Chulanivka?
Yes, Chulanivka.
Chulanivka. Chulanivka. I have not heard of this, actually. If this did happen, unfortunately, I'd have to declare ignorance, and I don't really know much about it. We did hear that the Russians lost a lot of guys at the school up in the Makivka area. There is a school here. It's actually quite a sizable one as well that we have pictures of. but we haven't heard of anyone getting obliterated here in this town or in that particular school. So unfortunately, I'll have to declare ignorance on that one because I don't really have anything to add to it. But with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again for sponsoring a live chat question while I'm about to cough my guts out.
And I've actually found a solution to the coughing on stream. I've got these Ricolas from the store. Man, I've got one right now. It is helping a bunch. Like, I'm not coughing one bit. So they work.
So wait a minute, Matthew. You're telling me that, one, you don't really talk that much on stream, and you're coughing and hacking because of the little amount you are talking?
No, it's not from the talking. It's from, like, whatever it is around this time of night. Like, I start getting, like, a scratchy, like, throat or something like that.
That's weird. That's actually really bizarre, man. You might want to have that checked out by a doctor.
Nah, I'm good.
The doctor will be like, you have ghosts. Take cocaine. take.
Now the doctor will be like, we're gonna need to bring you in for surgery for this to like see what's wrong, and then you come out like worse than you were when you came in.
No, they like mess with your throat, and you know right now everyone talks about how good your voice is. You come back out and they go, Matthew, are you feeling better? You know, or something.
Turn
like
into a
that.
squeaker.
Yeah, you turn into a squeaker, then everyone's like, oh, he's more obnoxious than the enforcer. But anyways, with that, we are on to the next one.
All right. So up next, we have a $20 super chat from Santiago Flores, who says, hello, had pizza on Taco Tuesday, and here is for the pizza fund, and it was great to have Starsky on, and cheers.
Hey, and thank you so much for the support, Santiago Flores. And also to the pizza fund. You had pizza on Taco Tuesday. And that's being traditional right there. I think that Taco Tuesday should be more like Taco Wednesday sometimes. And I feel like Pizza Friday ought to be Pizza Tuesday, to be honest with you. If I could turn all the food schedules around, I would. I would. And as President of the United States, I'm going to do it. The food pyramid is going to consist of the following things. Your base requirements are going to be pizza and tacos. Your self-fulfilling requirements are going to be nitric acid Coke. And the peak, the very top, is going to be a chocolate cake with water park tickets baked inside. That will be the very top. Like, you know, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that will be the pyramid structure. So with that, I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And thank you so much, Santiago Flores, for not only being a channel legend, but helping this channel to also keep running. And so with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you once again.
All right. And yes, thank you very much, Santiago, for that. And up next, we have a $15 super chat from John Lee, who says, for the coffee and pizza fun, and thanks, guys.
And thank you so much for the support. And once again, the coffee and pizza fund. We now have a blend of two funds, the coffee and the pizza fund, and now it's the coffee and pizza fund. So we are going to make sure to eat pizza while also drinking nitro cold brew coffee. That ought to be delicious. I think that'll be a perfect...
I quit that stuff a long time ago. That's behind me now.
Oh, I still drink it. You see, Matthew actually got me to drink that stuff one time, and then I realized that it gave me the jitters when I first drank it. So I was like,
I said, here, boy, would you like some? Would you like some of this nice coffee that has like way too much caffeine in it?
And so
he said, Started out with a small amount, and I drank a whole cup.
Yeah, and so I've actually found that gave me the jitters, and it made me a whole lot more active and interesting on stream, at least in my opinion. So now I use it like some people use other kinds of things, but we're not getting into that on this channel. But thank you so much once again for the support to the Pizza and Coffee Fund, and with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and up next we have a $15 super chat from Stefan R, who says cheers, and cheers to you, Stefan.
And cheers to you, Stefan. If I had a drink, I would cheer to you. It's like, yay, go Stefan! But anyways, thank you so much for the support, and thank you for helping this channel to keep on going. Also, cheers. And so with that, we are on to the next one, and thank you so much once again for the support.
All right, and let's see here. Up next, we have a $10 super chat from the B Knight 3. Who says, do you know the U.S. military fields rifle-resistant helmets up to 7.62x54R? Staff Sergeant McQueen survived an encounter at 20 feet in 2018 while in Afghanistan with an ECH. Should we donate these helmets?
Gee, I didn't know we had helmets that strong. I thought we still only had the ones that could stop pistol caliber rounds and rifle caliber rounds from extremely long ranges. But let me see. U.S. Army helmets. Let me see if this is a standard issue helmet. The Advanced Combat Helmet. We come up with some neat names, don't we? That's a very self-explanatory name, the Advanced Combat Helmet. Let's see, what type of ballistic protection does this provide?
You know why they give those like complex names to simple stuff?
Why?
To sell more. It makes it sound more advanced than it actually is.
Well, yeah, but remember back in the day, Matthew, after World War II, when everything was called the M1? Like, you got your M1 helmet, your M1 Garand, your M1 webbing, your M1 kit, your M1 trench shovel, your M1 shoes, and then you went and sold it to everyone in the world, France, Britain, Germany, Japan, Korea, and everyone was buying that stuff. It didn't have a cool name. It was just called M1 everything. And then you got in your M1 tank after it all. You updated all your tanks, got rid of the M60, brought in the M1, and continued on the M1 legacy. Like, we sold the hell out of everything labeled M1. It's not even cool sounding. It's just you're just buying the hell out of the stuff. But it is an interesting name. I don't know why we just don't call these things like Protective Helmet Mark 1, or Helmet Mark 1, Mark 2. Like, that's just how I would label it, but still. Anyways, let's see. The screws failed ballistics test at extreme temperatures. So apparently the Gentex Corporation screwed over all their helmets and they weren't good. But let's see. Flat compared to this allows greater compatibility with communication headsets and improve hearing when headsets are not used. The ACH uses ballistic fibers such as Kevlar and Twaron, which I've never heard about. In 2007, the Army developed and introduced a ballistic nape pad that attaches to the ACH's rear suspension system. It's got leaf springs in it, and coincided with the introduction of the improved outer tactical vest. Let's see, where the hell's the protection on this thing? Also, there are some in Ukraine. But where is it? Let's see here. See, look, the M1 helmet, Matthew. I told you. The M1 helmet. Man, we sold the hell out of these things.
Very simple design, but pretty decent.
Do you want to see what it's designed off of?
Literally a round shape.
No, this.
Helmet model number 5. Why does that look German?
Well, I mean, But you want to know what's interesting?
Why do it is German?
Oh, no. It's an American design.
I was about to say it has like some kind of weird like German design like similarities.
Because back in the day, Matthew, everyone's like idea of the helmet was like, how in the world can we make a helmet super simple to produce where it can be stamped by a single machine into its actual shape with a couple of finishing steps afterwards. And so that's why all helmets back in the day were like one giant continuous sheet of steel, because this thing would just go under a press and it would actually just be stamped in one swift move into this shape, and then they would do all the finishing work afterwards to make sure it didn't have any rough edges or anything like that, and then it was ready to go. And so that's why.
Barry Mundy and also certain devs said it's modeled after the turtle, and that makes sense.
The model 1917.
That green helmet up there.
This one.
Yeah, it's a turtle shell, but for your head.
I mean, yeah, kind of. The Russians.
Tactical turtle.
Oh no, Matthew! They're gonna paint it black and put a vertical fork on it. What are you doing? Stop! But
wouldn't that be cool if you had like how they paint like a character or like a symbol on the side of a plane to put like a call sign on the side of it? Mm-hmm. What if you did that for your helmet? That'd be pretty cool. Like had the turtle and had like your nickname under it.
Oh, that would be cool. Also, another thing, Matthew, about this helmet model number 5. Take a look at this, and then for some reason, no one was doing anything about this helmet. We moved on from this design, and the Swiss went, yes, I'll make many of these. So let me pull up the Swiss helmet in World War II, and I'll show you this, because there's a lot of design similarities in some ways. This is it. This is the Swiss helmet in the Second World War.
A little bit more jagged.
Yeah, there's one on an actual soldier.
Yeah. I mean, probably like no difference in protection, but it looks a little different.
Yeah, it looks pretty different. But it doesn't look too different from that. It's like they just took the the side and they just made it longer. More so protecting the ears, I guess you could say.
Maybe so. Gotta protect those hearings.
I gotta be honest with you. The Swiss didn't really do it with this helmet. This is not really that good of a design.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan, honestly.
No, I'm not either. This looks like something you would see in Star Wars when they sit there, the Death Star is ready to fire! Wait a minute, a captured helmet? Bull. I'm calling bull on that. Look at that.
Somebody painted a Z on the side.
Look at that.
Wait a minute. Go through the description real quick.
Let's see here. A helmet from the occupied village in Makarov region. For a month, my relatives were in the occupation. The house burned down. Nothing was left. I will give the proceeds from the sale to them for personal use. Photo of the house before and after. Also available if interested. Thanks. In stock and other items from the occupation.
So this person says they're shipping from Ukraine. Click on their profile real quick.
Let's see. Shipping from Ukraine.
Yeah, there you go.
So they have 2 of these helmets, the exact same one.
Oh, they're different slightly.
A little different, but I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know, man.
There's no way to verify it, but wait a minute, go down a little bit.
This stuff looks legit. Like the pants being in rags and looking like they smell like dirt. Yeah, that looks pretty accurate. I mean, it looks like they're actually selling some legit stuff here and there.
Now go all the way back up to the top.
1 second, I want to take a look. Okay, interesting. So let's see here.
Go to about. They're actually in Ukraine.
Oh, cool. So it's. Wait a minute, are you kidding? Like, this is actually legit then. These are real helmets.
Maybe, possibly.
I mean, I don't know, because the boots look worn. Like, those are worn boots. The pants are worn. Like, you know, you can't just make rags out of pants like that. You know, we've seen pants like that on Russian soldiers. Exactly like that one.
They might have just gotten them out of, like, surplus or something like that, though.
Surplus like that?
Yeah, maybe so. They might. You never know. But I mean, there's no telling. It might be legit or maybe not. There's just no way to know.
But still, that's interesting to say the least. We'll have to see if we can find a helmet like that on film, because that's actually pretty bizarre. I don't think I've seen one like that one exactly. But
Wacky Wavin said, "Cap."
I call cap. Oh God, that's not busted for word for real. Anyways, we're getting past all the stupid phrases that are used.
Oh, and also they can't be real either, because those were metal helmets. They use airsoft helmets in Russia.
Well, no, we've seen them using shush helmets like that.
They'd have the most rare helmet on the battlefield then.
No, dude, we've seen those a million times over.
I don't know. I mean, the plastic ones seem to be their favorite. Alibaba?
Yeah, you're kind of right. But anyways, I hope we also...
Everybody's saying fake. Like, they're about fake.
I mean, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. It did look fake. It looked too clean. Like, you know, they got that from surplus and then painted the Z on it. The pants and stuff kind of looked realistic. I'm sure it's not really hard to find pants like that. But still, you know, like the helmets, I was not really that big into. But still,
I think we need a certificate of authenticity on it. Like, can somebody like certify it's authentic? Like maybe a Ukrainian soldier. Have a Ukrainian soldier like sign it so that way we know it's real.
Yeah, I mean, like we could. So with that.
Well, not us, but them.
Well, I mean, like
I'm not gonna call up and be like, "Hey, could you get that signed?"
Could you get that signed? Anyways, I thank you so much for the support. I hope we addressed that comment fairly well. And that is pretty interesting here. And I think that some of those helmets are in Ukraine right now because, you know, they're not that expensive. And hopefully they're being used and put to good use. And so with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you once again for the support.
And also, Bobby Caralfa, I agree. The paint was a little too clean to have been real. But up next, we have a $10 super chat from White Lightning 777, who says, "Why aren't the Ukrainians hitting the gas and oil pipelines within Russia? Those finance the entire war."
Good question. I think if you're talking about the Nord Stream, someone already hit them. No one's really taking credit, but it was probably someone from the West, because it makes the most sense for us to do that. It was either the British or the United States, and good on us for doing that. But beyond that, they've largely been cut off from everyone in terms of gas, and the markets that were once there, which was largely Europe, they don't buy gas anymore. The British actually cut off their gas imports about a day or two ago. The last liter of Russian gas came in. They shut off the pipes permanently. They're going to be buying gas from elsewhere. So I think it won't really matter much anymore, but hopefully if there are still some running somewhere, maybe they can be shut off or destroyed, one or the other. Maybe partisans can do a little bit of that work. But with that, I thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one. Also, Matthew, how many do we have left?
We have, let's see, 4, 10, about 22.
All right. And so with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Roy CC07, who puts in a $10 donation and says the Makivka school that was destroyed, and he gives the coordinates. And I think those are the same ones we looked up earlier.
And we did. I actually took those coordinates straight out of your super chat. So I thank you so much for the support. And we did check it out, and that seems to be a much more plausible school than the one we saw before. It's on bus stop number 19. It's not school number 19, however, from what we can tell. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we're on to the next one.
All right, and the next one goes to Paul Batts, who puts in a $10 donation, but Paul does not leave a comment. So thank you very much for that support, and we appreciate it very much. And the Enforcer is going to add a few words himself.
Word. And with that,
He's going to add a few.
And I thank you so much for the support. And of course, it means a lot to us that people keep supporting to help this channel to keep on running. And so thank you so much once again. You didn't leave a comment, but the support does say much. And we will be putting that towards the leaf spring fund, so that way we can eventually put leaf springs on our cars. And so with that, we're on to the next one. Thank you once again.
I think I'll pass on the leaf springs, by the way, but on the car, I might put the leaf springs on my wagon little thing outside. You know that little wagon?
The little red wagon?
No, not the red one. The garden one.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
It already has leaf springs on it, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's see real quick. I saw something in the live chat. Somebody said, Enforcer, can you please correct your statements on Zimbabwe?
I think we actually did that about a couple of weeks ago. I think months ago when that aired.
Did you even mention Zimbabwe tonight?
No, we didn't. That actually is something from like 3 months ago, and I was seeing that in the live chat. I was like, this kind of weird to bring up like 3 months later, because I believe we corrected that like a day or two after the fact. I'm not really sure though, but yeah. Anyways, with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and up next we have a $10 super chat from Oats Air, who says final score: Seattle Kraken 5, Edmonton Oilers 2. Take a question from the chat: Slava LSA and Slava Ukraine.
And thank you so much for the support. And also, Oats Air, thank you for throwing in a score from a game. I don't know what teams those are, but I like the sound of Oilers, because it sounds like they're going to work on your car and then score a touchdown on you at the same time. Like I feel like that's the level of disrespect that a car mechanic would give you. Is like, you get out of your car and they're like, and sir, the bill today is $55, and down said hike, and then they throw the ball right over your head for a touchdown. But with that, thank you so much for the support, Oats Air, and thank you so much for helping this channel keep on running. You are a channel legend, a literal legend. And so thank you so much once again for being here tonight and helping this thing to keep going. And so with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and let's see here. Oats Air did ask for a question, so the question is going to go to, let's see here, Canty Luden, who says, do you know why Zelensky's office is green? Green in Ukraine equals the Ukrainian. Paste in Google Translate and hit the sound button if you want to hear it as well.
We'll put in green in Ukrainian.
Зелений.
Holy moly.
Zelensky?
Zeleny. He was made for the office. Man, dude, that sounds like, Lenny, found you, Lenny. For some reason, that reminded me of that. Oh, man. Oh, it's... Anyway, let me go find the president's. I think it's...
Also, green is the color of success, too, so that might have something to do with it as well.
We found the Mariinsky Palace. This is where Zelensky meets foreign heads of state. Very nice, very nice. Let's find the next building. Chocolate House.
Ooh, Chocolate House.
This is something that I feel like Zelensky would say in English during one of his speeches, where he's like, "Zilili in a chocolate house," and then he gets back to talking.
Grain from Ukraine.
You know, he's sitting there. Grain from Ukraine, and I'm like, what? It's like, it just throws.
When he
me
says
off.
grain from Ukraine, it's like immediately I'm like, oh, it's the only thing I understand was I perk up immediately.
It's like that guy who talks in Japanese at McDonald's. You know, he's like, could McDonald's. You know, it's like Big Mac, and then he's like speaking Japanese the rest of the time. It's like, I don't understand, man. But anyways, sadly, I cannot find the office here on Google and Google Maps. Maybe I can. I know I can find it. Dang it, I can't. Let's see here. Well, Anyway, moving on from that, we all know the office is green. We've seen the speech from Zelensky a million times. That's still crazy, though, to think that Zeleny sounds a lot like green. What does the last name Zelensky mean, then? What does the last name Zelensky mean? It literally means green.
It's a Slavic masculine surname.
Masculine, strong, strength, power. But that's crazy. His last name literally means green. So pretty much he's like if we like Anglicanized his name, it would be something like Volodymyr Green. That would be his name.
We'll add an E to the end of green.
Yeah, so that way it's really normal. So with that, that's actually wild. I never made that connection, but the office is green, and his last name literally means green in Ukrainian. How ironic. That's actually crazy. But with that, we are on to the next one. Thank you so much once again for the support and pointing that out.
Indeed. And up next, we have a $10 super chat from Jesse Glenn, who says, I believe the Flashback interviewed the skincare guru as well.
Really? I haven't checked Flashback's channel lately, but if he did, that's really cool, and it's good to know that Flashback knows a comedian when he sees one. That guy needs to get a job in a comedy club after the war is over, because he's got a knack for the jokes. That was a really smart one right there, and I believe he ought to go viral for that. But with that, we are on to the next one, and thank you so much once again for the support while my coffee is still wearing off, because I drank a good amount tonight. It was like 4 or 6 ounces of nitro cold brew, and it hasn't really done much for me. I feel like Michael Jackson, Matthew, would like that stuff that he would use to sleep. I feel so sleepy, and then he took so much of it, he just fell asleep, didn't wake up.
I think the doctor gave him too much of it.
However it was, I feel like that with coffee now. Like, I'm drinking so much coffee and it's not doing anything for me. But then after the stream's over, it'll keep me up for 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, I bet. I can't handle the crash from it. That's why I stopped drinking it.
Well, anyways, with that, we're on to the next one, to say the least.
Yes, indeed. I crash harder than the Russians lose a war whenever I drink that stuff. But anyways, up next, we have a $10 super chat from Rob M., who says, Happy and victorious New Year, LSA. And Happy New Year to you, Rob.
And Happy New Year to you, Rob. It's been 3 days. It's now been 4 days since New Year's, but Happy New Year's to you. I hope you had a fun one. I hope you enjoyed tonight's stream. And thank you so much for the support. And helping this channel to keep on running. And, of course, Happy New Year. And so with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again for the support and helping me to keep this channel running. It's absolutely huge. Believe me. Nobody does this like I do. It's the best on earth. Nobody. It's the best. I go around, people are saying that it's the best out there. And nobody can beat it. Not even Cook and CNN. But they're lower ratings. We'll never get on CNN now as a guest. Now that I said that, they'll vet this channel.
I wouldn't want to be on there.
Well, I don't want to be on either CNN or Fox, but if we ever had the chance, I would like to go onto the David Letterman show, but he's not on air anymore. So with that,
did you remember All Gas No Breaks? I think Channel 5 News. I think is what he's called now.
Yeah, I think so.
He went on to CNN yesterday to promote his new HBO show that's coming out, and he roasted the hell out of CNN when he went on there. Like, it was so bad that Don Lemon started getting offended and pushing back, and he started getting all flustered and stuff at the slightest little comments that he was making towards CNN. He had said one thing the CNN is an echo chamber like Fox and all these other channels. Don Lemon got so flustered he couldn't even continue the interview.
I wish I could shake All Gas No Breaks hand then, because that's exactly what I would say if I was on their show. I'd be like, man, this is an echo chamber like no tomorrow, man. This isn't even news. This is just pandering to the audience that you have and trying to make money off of them by getting ad space. That's what I would say. But
All Gas and No Breaks is more of a journalist than CNN will ever be.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, here, we'll pull them up real quick, because I'm always into plugging channels, because it's YouTube, no one really competes much. So let me go over here. All Gas.
Hey, he's known as Channel 5 News now, by the way. Yeah. He doesn't have any part in All Gas No Breaks.
Yeah, he does. Look, he's right here.
What? He's totally dissociated from it.
Yeah, but oh yeah, well yeah, his last upload was 2 years ago. But still, look, this right here, I would say was pretty good reporting. I mean, like, you know, he didn't go to like the big things going on in the country. He would just go to things like, you know, like the Proud Boys rally and go with Bigfoot people and like go quote unquote hunting with them. And he'd go to motorcycle rallies and protests. Like, he was going to every end you could. Like, the Proud Boys is one end of it. The Portland protests and what was going on there was a completely other end of it. And he would just go there, and he wouldn't let you know his opinion. And he would just hold a mic in front of people's faces, and he would let them talk. And funnily enough,
that's what I miss about journalism is the journalists used to go around to literally everyone, even if they were nutcases or like normal or whatever. They would ask everybody questions, and they wouldn't like only pick certain people that they agree with. People should be smart enough to like look at this stuff and make their minds up about what reality actually is.
You know what's interesting is that he would do that, and somehow every single way, it may have also had to do with his editing a little bit, everyone would talk themselves into being an idiot eventually. Like, you would be like, wow, these people are idiots. He did that with everyone. I was like, man, like, no one has any common sense in these groups. Like, they're all crazy. But anyways, with that, we are on to the next one.
All right. And up next, we have a $10 super chat from Raphael Schneeves. I got it right that time, Raphael. Who says, I knew I was right. Riverboats are a good idea. Now we have to start sticking artillery guns to it. Saint Raphael, support of the dying, pray for all the soldiers dying in Ukraine, and God bless.
And thank you so much for the support. And I do think that the gunboat idea, now that we see that they're actually using boats, is kind of neat. I don't think gunboats in the like Civil War sense, like they used to be back in the 1860s, would work. But more modern gunboats, like the Zippo gunboats that we used in Vietnam, well, those used incendiaries, so I don't really know about that. But gunboats in general, I do think they would work now that we see that they're working here. So I would definitely back that up now. They have shown that it is worthwhile, and I was wrong. Riverboats can be used in Ukraine, and the Ukrainians are using them fairly well. So, with that, I got to thank you so much for the support, and I hope we addressed that fairly well. And so with that, we are on to the next one, and thank you once again.
And up next, we have a $10 super chat from NATO Enjoyer, who says, LOL.
And LOL, laugh out loud, man. Man, they quit point and laugh. Anyways, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well, and I hope you like that really cheap fake laugh that I put out right there. It was the best laugh. Nobody could do laughs like I could. Everyone would go, wow, that's a great laugher right there. And I would go, that's right. And you can buy that laugh on a special digital trading card or trading card, either one. That actually came out really wrong. for $99.99. We need to have universal trading card NFTs across this country. There's not enough. Anyways, we're on to the next one.
All right. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Philip Fixes, who says, out of town in Fort Walton Beach, installing solar, La Quinta Inn is way better than Super 8. Per diem equal blank and beer. I share your time zone tonight in Slava, Ukraine.
And
Philip, you're right there near our favorite vacation spot near Destin.
Yeah, Destin is our favorite vacation spot. I think, and yeah, I did go to the wrong one. I was in Pensacola. Duh. Anyways, we're going to move down to Pensacola now. I mean, Destin. Whoops. And we're going to move down to Fort Walton, right over here. Pretty cool place. We like Destin, and we like going to vacation here. It's neat. It's a nice beach. And we used to go to this beach, like somewhere around here. It was one of these. Remember when we took that pontoon boat right here and
I was just thinking that. Yeah, we almost sank the pontoon boat. The waves were a little bit more vicious than we thought. But we should have known better, honestly. It was right at the inlet.
I knew when you were laughing, that was what you were laughing about, because that's the funniest thing ever. And then, of course, we went to Crab Island, you know, and we walked around there, and it's like neat sand. It's kind of a little shallow. And I've noticed, Matthew, that the water keeps on getting worse and worse quality with each passing year. It looks
I really hate that. Like Crab Island has turned sort of nasty now. Although that was pretty blue.
Wait a minute, this may be a seasonal problem because this was taken in June 2022. This was taken in August of 2021. So it may be a problem with like flooding is bringing a lot of sediment in, so it changes the color of the water, because it looks really clear in every other picture. And this was just taken. This one was taken in 2019. This one was taken in 2022, and it's bathtub water.
My thing is, it's just gotten too crowded there. Like, it's way too crowded. Unless you like really know what you're doing with your boat, like you're going to end up running somebody over.
Yeah,
like I would probably do.
There. Yeah. It's just too crowded. I really hate that. That's a huge problem with everything. Like, you go to the Louvre to go look at the Mona Lisa, which is a very small painting, and there's so many people crowded around it. We've never been there, but, you know, I've heard from people who've gone there. It's so crowded around the Mona Lisa that you can hardly even see it. And you have to wait for hours to eventually get to the front of that crowd, and then you have to try and meander your way out. I really hate that sometimes, but, you know, it just comes with the territory. Also, look at these dolphins. Very common in Destin. Anyways, with that, I thank you so much once again for the support. I hope you're having fun down there in Fort Walton while you're installing those solar panels. And with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you once again for the support.
All right. Okay, and up next we have a $5 super chat from Diffuse56 who says, "Hi all, I'm a returning LSA veteran. I've been WIA and back on my feet finally. And Diffuse, I'm glad to hear it. And it's good to see you once again."
Hey, and welcome back, Diffuse. Diffuse, if we had something like a Purple Heart to give in the LSA, I would give it to you. Sadly, we don't have any medals yet. And, you know, it's because, you know, we haven't found any way to really make them or send them around or anything. But one day, maybe we will have medals. I think that would be pretty cool, Matthew. Like, that would be pretty neat. Like, if we could give, like, LSA members, like, little medals.
That would be pretty cool. There's several members right now that would need the, what's the medal for being wounded?
The Purple Heart?
I thought that was for when, like, you got killed or something.
No, you get Purple Heart when you're wounded. You also get it. You just get it if you're wounded. If you're mortally wounded and die, you get a Purple Heart. If you're wounded, you get a Purple Heart. Remember, we had we had a living granduncle, Matthew, that had received 2 Purple Hearts, and he was still alive. Like Matthew, you don't have to die to get the Purple Heart.
Well, you remember what the army instructor's opinion of that was? You remember?
Wait, tell me again, because I think I may have forgotten.
He didn't think anybody deserved the Purple Heart unless you were dead. He said if you get wounded and you have it, you should have. Well, can't say that on YouTube, but he has some choice words for that.
Huh? Interesting. Anyways,
you don't remember that at all?
I remember it now, but we are on to the next one. We can't get into it too much.
But anyways, up next we have a $5 super chat from Thomas Kruger who says, "Enforcer Matt, this is for the pizza fund."
And thank you so much for the support to the Buitza Fund. We're getting a lot of support for Buitza. Tonight, we partook in the pig. That's what we call, what is it, Full Moon Barbecue?
Yes.
We partook in the pig. It was absolutely delicious. And I got to tell y'all, the best thing there is the fried green tomatoes. Absolutely killer! And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. We'll make sure to put that towards pizza, probably Papa John's. And with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you once again for the support.
And the next one goes to Awoken State, Florida, who puts in a $5 donation. It says, "Can't forget about the Gator Snack Fund." And we really can't.
And we can't.
You know what? We love a Gator wrap from a restaurant locally. I don't know if I want to say the name of the restaurant, but it's one that probably a lot of people know about. Maybe the enforcer will say it if he wants to. But they have the Gator like wrap there that's very, very good. But they're always out, and I've always wondered if they actually go and like hunt the gators down in the swamp and like supply them to the restaurant, or do they like get them from a farm?
It's a farm. It's a farm.
I think they're hunting them down because that thing's always sold out.
Gator farm.
I can just see a bunch of Cajun people like gunning them down for the restaurant.
Gator farm.
Oh my goodness, that's sad.
Yeah, but that's where they get the gator meat from. You see, it wouldn't be economically viable to supply that much gator by going into the swamp each time with a crew and a gun and trying to like hunt them down like you're on a fishing trip. It would be uneconomical. So you got to have a farm for these things, and this is what a gator farm looks like.
Man, I kind of was hoping it would be like in the wild or something like that. I don't like seeing like animals crowded together like this in a farm.
Man, hell, man, goodness. Sometimes I look at these and I'm like, what if someone falls in there? You know, if they fall in there, obviously they're going to be eaten. What do you do with the gators at that point? Do you have to put them down because they ate people and they're no longer they can be sold as food, or like what? Do you just like shrug it under the rug and let people eat gator meat that had digested people in it? Like, I don't know. But I'm sure that a lot of people don't fall into this because I'm sure that would make national news if someone fell in a gator pit and was mauled to death. But anyways, also, man, look at that thing.
Damn. Man. These things are basically like dinosaurs, like modern dinosaurs.
Yeah, they say that these things have not really changed. Like, the farthest back fossils they can find of gators, they've remained the same forever. They've never changed. Also, this one's flat. Look at that. It's a pancake. Anyways, I thank you so much once again for the support for the Gator Food Fund. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And up next, we have a $5 super chat from William Jones. We also have a 5 from Charles Scott, and also one from Sam's trash dump. Thank you very much, Sam, and also the trash dump. And also, thank you, William and Charles, for the support. We do appreciate it very much. And of course, y'all's support is helping to keep the channel running and keep the lights on and keep the computers ticking. So we appreciate it very much. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from UberCon, who says, "Hi from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Please take a general chat question."
And thank you so much for the support. And we will take a general chat question. What happened? Anyways, let's get the question.
And the question is going to go to, let's see here. It's going to go to LJ Boone, who says, "Matt, did you guys see the video of the Russians rolling down the hill?"
Yes, we did. We actually showed that on stream tonight, and it was hilarious. They actually followed the training video that they were showed, which is stupid. But with that, I hope that answers the question fairly well. And thank you so much once again for the support and sponsoring a live chat question. And so with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one we have is from the King, who puts in a $5 donation. And the King says, hear ye, are there any videos of the Phoenix drones being used? And hi from Pennsylvania.
I think we've seen a Phoenix drone getting used once or never. I actually think we haven't seen them get used either. I was thinking about the Switchblade right there. We haven't seen any of the Phoenix drones getting used from what I can recall on video or picture evidence. And also, hello to Phoenix, Arizona. Let's go to Phoenix. Because we haven't had...
Phoenix, Arizona?
Yeah, isn't that
You
what
mean Pennsylvania? I said hi from Pennsylvania. It's a Phoenix ghost drone.
Why the... Oh... I jumbled everything together, Matthew. I jumbled everything and then just threw Arizona into the mix. What the hell am I talking about? Where are they? Did they say where they're from in Pennsylvania?
They just said Pennsylvania. They're from the whole state.
They're from the whole state. Let's see. Let's find a place. Scranton. Let's go to
Scranton. Dayton.
I grew up in Scranton. Let's drop down here and take a look at it. How come Pennsylvania gets a bad rap? This looks fine.
It looks all right.
Day-I. That's like that Frosted Flakes ripoff. Day-I. You remember that, Matthew?
No.
Oh, hang on. I'm gonna pull that up. Oh man. Here you go. You're gonna love this. There you go. You had Frosted Flakes, but I'm sure you haven't had Frosty Cornflakes. Day-I.
Hell? What the hell is that? Frosty Cornflakes. Man, that thing looks like it's on drugs.
Oh man, dude, that thing's wearing the 80s 80s vest and everything. Oh boy, man. But this is the meme. They're great versus Day-I, and he's holding up his hand like he's saying it. You know, he's holding up his freaking hand like he's saying that.
Oh, this is too much. I like the comparison between the two. That was hilarious.
Oh man. Anyways, Day-I. That's what you're saying about this town. But it doesn't look that bad. But let's see here. What else can we find about this town? Mattas and Mates attorneys.
No, Mats and Mats.
Mats and Mats. Oh my God, Matthew, you're multiplying. You're multiplying. You're
I'm not. You're not going to catch me in an office with not being pressure washed on the outside of it like that.
Also, why in the world does it look like it used to be a former gentleman's club with that font and everything? You know,
it probably was.
Yeah, it probably was. It probably still is, but we won't go into that. So, anyways.
Huh.
Sounds like Dick's having some whiskey. I'm not a crook. But anyways, with that, I thank you so much once again for support and also being a Lee Spring Army member from Pennsylvania. I don't know if you're from Scranton, but it was fun looking around Scranton. And so with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again for the support.
And the next one goes to Thomas Rogers, who puts in a $5 donation and says, please pick a question from the live chat, Slava Ukraine and Slava LSA.
And thank you so much for the support. And thank you so much for enjoying the stream. And long live the Lee Spring Army. And with that, let's get ourselves a question from the live chat.
And the question from the live chat is going to go to Roman, who says, will full mobilization change the outcome for Russia?
No, it wouldn't, because they still don't have the supplies, the weapons, and the ammunition to get those guys going. They can't even get the guys their ammunition and guns, much less new guys, so they'd be completely ineffective, and they probably wouldn't even be able to transport them out of Russia. And so with that, I hope that answers the question fairly well. And with that, we on to the next one.
And the next one we have goes to the king once again. I thought I replicated it, but the king asked the same question again. And sadly, King, we still don't have any answer. Hopefully, we're not going to the guillotine for that. But thank you very much for the support once again. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Anthony Bestwick. He says, I overslept so late on the stream, but the location you show as the school is Roni. Use Google Map to find PTU number 19. Did say this Sunday.
And we did find it, and I got to thank you so much for the support and also pointing that out and being one of our watchful viewers who helps us to correct the news whenever it's getting something wrong. And so, with that, thank you so much once again for the support. It's folks like you who help this channel to keep on running and help us to give out accurate news and information. And so with that, we are on to the next one, and thank you, citizen, for everything you've done for this nation.
Indeed. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Xavier Estrada, who says, fundraising idea. We all donate $5 for every time the Enforcer sings an 80s song in the key of the Orange Dude.
Radio Moscow, it is a good. We built this city. We built this city on rock and roll, not Rosie O'Donnell.
Let's see. What else?
Let's see. Alalila caramba. We're gonna build a big wall in between Mexico, and we're gonna make them pay for it.
But anyways, thank you so much for the support. That addresses the comment fairly well. And what happened? You were stacking spaghetti jars in the grocery store, and it went big boom. And what happened? Anyways, with that, we are on to the next one.
All right. And up next, we have a $3 super chat from Chef Pat, who says, dang, Papa John's large in Ontario is like $15, but there's usually a coupon.
Holy moly.
You got to get the coupons, man. Papa John's will screw you over if you don't use the coupons.
You got to get the coupon, man. You got to. And also, that's crazy to hear. It's $15. I think down here, it's like maybe like 10 or 11.
Depends on the size you get.
Well, yeah.
I think we get a large.
Well, yeah. But still, it's not that expensive. Even like at some of the largest pizzas, I think they're getting up towards like 13, and that's it.
No, I think it's getting up toward like 17 for the extra large.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't have my pizza index down because I don't really partake in like actually looking at the price of the pizzas. I always partake.
Oh, I know.
I know. I always partake in looking at the prices of things like Taco Bell, Culver's, and other restaurants like that because you know it's something that I'm having to look at on the menu. So I know that like a little beefy melt thing is like $2 a pop, and then you know with tax, you know. Anyways, with that,
Taco Bell's gotten outrageous with their prices.
Oh,
like how they charging $7 for a taco.
Why in the world did you slur taco at the end? You having a sip of something over there?
No, I've got that what's it called? A lewd.
A lewd?
What the hell's that stuff called? A Ricola.
Man, he used that there. So I have a lewd. That sounded very.
Well, I have
wrong.
Ludens too. I have Ludens and I also have Ricola.
Someone clip that. I need Matthew Clip saying I got a lewd.
What does that even mean?
What do you mean?
Like what's the catch?
You know, lewd.
I have a lewd.
Like, you know, committing lewd acts in public, you know, public indecency. You know?
Using lewd as like a noun or like a
Oh, okay.
Like, what do you mean
anyway,
here?
We're moving on to the next one. We're moving on.
Oh, VJ Spectron said Quaaludes. Thinking about that Wolf of Wall Street movie. Oh my goodness. Oh man.
I saw someone talking about Quaaludes the other day. They said that the next thing closest to it now is Valium. And I was like, how in the hell do you know that? But anyways, with that, we're on to the next.
Who told you that?
I saw it on the internet. Someone was talking about like some guy was doing some Italian mobster like impersonation thing. He was like, Quaaludes, so what's big on the market now? And then someone was like, you know, like a fun fact. And it was in the comments section of a YouTube video. fun fact, the Quaaludes are now illegal, but the closest thing to it that you still buy over the counter is Valium. I was like, why the hell do you know that? Like, what in the world do you do? Like, take a Quaalude and then compare it to a Valium? Like, anyways, with that, we're on to the next one.
All right. And up next, we have a $2 super chat from Dupper Bob, and we also have a $2 super chat from Susan Reichel. And thank you very much to both of you for the support once again, and we do appreciate it very, very much. Up next, we have a $2 super chat from RoyCC07, who says, you can tap on the building for pictures on it.
Oh, we tried to, and we couldn't. So with that, thank you so much for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right. And we have a $1 super chat from Mark Andrew Burnett, who says, it's so cool idea to present Igor Zastarsky. And we did.
We tried to have someone find us a video because, I can't go through all my streams and find it myself on stream. But I got to introduce him to Igor because I would love to see him do that on one of his streams or videos where someone gets like hit. He's like, Igor! But anyways, with that, thank you so much for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one. And Igor!
All right, and moving into our live chat questions. Up first, we have the Morse code, which was deciphered by JP's RCs, CFA, WFTU, and also Mark Hodges. They say, Enforcer and Enforcer Matt, the Morse code says, bing bong, your soldiers are gone, Slava Ukraine.
Y'all are correct.
Bing bing bong.
Bing bing bong bong.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh goodness. Let me see. Well, everyone really like we do a lot of them. We do Sam Elliott, David Attenborough, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, Richard Nixon. We do a lot of them.
You're saying their names?
Well, yeah, because it's obvious who I'm doing. It's not like this isn't Spirit Halloween, Matthew. I'm not gonna sit there and put Bernie Sanders masks out there and say it's like socialist politician as its description. He is who he is. Everyone knows who I'm doing, but
isn't this getting a little political?
No, because that's what he says he is. We're not going into opinions or anything. We're just saying what it is.
It sounds like the Enforcer sure is getting political recently.
Well, you might want to cut that out there, son. Anyways. Moving on from that, we're doing that one a lot, and I think that a lot of new viewers may be like, "What? How come we do other ones? We get at all of them fairly eventually. It's just that everyone really likes
this one because, of course, it is one of the best by far. No one does it like me. Everyone's got it. Everyone always tries to compete with me, but they just can't do it. They can't compete. Never compete. People like Jeff. I don't even know who he is. We can't even do them. It just is what it is. And moving on from that, it's just incredible to do. Everyone likes it. Bing, bing, bong, bong. And of course, I gotta thank y'all all so much. Once again for watching this and also liking the voices as well. But with that, we're gonna get on to the next one, but thank you for deciphering the Morse code. Some say y'all are the best at the job. But, all I gotta say is only I'm the best. I'm the greatest out there. And with that, we're on to the next one, and thank you once again.
Yes, Lucius, we are still going. But we have a few more live chat questions to get to. And the next one goes to Liam T, who says, do you have an address to send packages to the frontline troops? Not the REMFs, all due respect, but the guys on the front lines.
Sadly, we don't. We always run our fundraisers and do any support through YouTube Give. That's the only way we'll do it. YouTube Give. Giving is caring. I always make sure to do it that way because it's safe and we know where it's going. Other ways, I can't really account for it, and so we don't really do it that way. But with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we're on to the next one.
Right. And the next one goes to, and also how many more do you want to take, by the way?
We'll probably take 3 more, and then we're going to round it out for the night because the ratings, they got to be incredible. And so we can only answer 3 more. By the way, we're going to be giving away the airplane.
Anyways, we're on to the next one.
That's why they sell the trading cards being sold, by the way. But anyways, up next, we have a question from Miss Disa, who says, Enforcer, how is the unusually warm weather affecting the war goof for Ukraine and not as cold, but ground still soft?
The exceptionally warm weather is making the ground unsuitable for large armored action. And if you ever see videos of armor moving around, it still looks like Rasputisa season, and mostly is. And so we don't see a lot of armored action occurring. Although in some areas it did get cold enough for a freeze to occur, like in the Northeast. And we don't really know if that freeze has subsided yet or not. So with that, I hope that answers the question fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one. I actually saw a lot of people asking for Sam Elliott, so I'll see if I can do that one for the rest of the night. So, and so with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and the next one goes to JJD 1913, who says, "Have you heard that the Bell V280 Valor will replace the Army's legendary Black Hawk?"
You know, I've heard that. And you know what else can't outperform the Black Hawk? The Bell V280. This thing kills more people than the V22 Osprey already, and I'm not a big fan of tilt rotor technology. It's something that hasn't been proven or made too well at this point, and I don't think for one bit that this should be what we use going forward. It's going to make flying in helicopters or tilt rotor aircraft even more dangerous than it was before, and I'm not necessarily a big fan of this thing. I believe that the competitor, and what was the competitor, Matthew?
You mean the Osprey?
No, there was another competitor. We looked at it before. It had the rotor at the back of the helicopter.
You got me on that one.
I'm trying to think of it. Let me pull up the Bell 280 competitor.
I don't like this thing, by the way. It kind of looks a little silly.
It does look a little silly. And I believe we're talking about the Sikorsky Bowen XSB-1.
Oh, that's right, the Defiant.
We're talking about that one. And if you ever wanted to find yourself a good helicopter, I think this is the one that should have won the contract. This thing not only could travel at high speeds, it also had the affordability of safety that a normal helicopter was able to give you. Able to cruise at top speeds, and also, from what we might know, it might be stealth, but I'm not exactly sure. I have a feeling it's probably not. But beyond that, it was a cool helicopter. And I've got to say, this one should have been the one that won the contract instead of the Bell 280. I feel like that was a little dumb, and Bowen and Sikorsky came up with a much better product with a lot more pulling power than Bell could ever come up with. And so with that, I hope that answers the question fairly well, and I thank you so much once again for your support. And so with that, we're going to get to the last question of the night. And so, who is the lucky last person who threw in the lucky last question of the night?
And that viewer is James Reyes, who says, Enforcer, when the war is over, do you think Russia will continue to...
Enforcer Matt, after the war is over, do you think Russia will continue to indoctrinate their youth against Ukraine and the West?
Of course, it is a continuing problem and issue that the Russians always indoctrinate their young into the belief that they are the master predator, although they are nothing more than the European hamster that the European families will eat at the end of the day, and the Europeans will not go hungry. Moving on from that, I believe that it is necessary for us to make sure that the Russians do not have the ability to indoctrinate their children any further, because they will if given the chance. And so with that, I would have to give you the answer, yes, they will. And they will keep on going until they can no longer, and then they shall lay down in the fields, much like taking a nice warm nap, and finally succumb to the failure of the Russian state. And so with that, George Walt unsubscribed.
Bye-bye, George. Bye-bye.
And immediately forgotten. And with that, I hope that answers the question fairly well. Thank you all so much once again for watching this channel. If you enjoyed our streams and also the stupidity at the end of the stream, make sure to subscribe because, of course, we greatly appreciate it. And so, with that, thank you all so much once again for watching. We will see you all tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern Time to cover the next 24 hours of the war in Ukraine here on National... I'm sorry, we're not associated with that company, and I cannot even say their name. But with that, everyone have a great night, stay safe, sleep well, and I will see you all around. Good night, good luck,
and Slava Ukraine. Yes.
The Leaf Spring Army sends its regards.
Ще не вмерла України ні слава, ні воля. Ще нам, браття українці, усміхнеться доля. Згинуть наші вороженьки, як роса на сонці. Запануємо ми, браття, у своїй сторонці. Душу й тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми браття козацького роду. Душу й тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми